Usually the department heads come.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm gonna pay
Is that right?
page number 1, page
How come we don't get this turned out at every selectmen's meeting?
Oh, we've got Jim's here.
Oh, yeah, okay.
One is in
Close to a
Richard.
department head.
They're at home watching.
There's one in Richard.
They're watching.
Oh,
Yeah,
there's
sure,
Richard.
everybody.
Okay, there's Richard, there's Kim.
Yeah, so Glenn in the parking lot.
Yeah, I know that, but well, there's probably a lot of home now
His
watching.
funds, he
Oh,
got his
yeah.
truck and left.
Oh, yeah.
What 59?
You should just remind people,
I postponed it.
I only ask people to submit the mails, so she's got the record for the
I'm sorry, I'm gonna rip it off, but I had no choice.
Replace tips
Yeah,
or
because we're gonna go through the regular.
Well, because it's just the
Same
same
thing.
thing, that's the bottom line.
Can you make a sentence to that?
Fun thing.
I don't know.
But, you know, I'm lucky it exists.
Pardon?
Yep.
It being 5 o'clock, I call the select board meeting to order. Are there any changes or additions to the agenda? I don't see any. We'll start off. I make a motion to open the public hearing to present the 2024 budget and warrant in accordance with RSA 32:5-1.
Second,
Roll call vote.
Bear, yes?
Schaefer, yes?
Prentice, yes.
Robert.
Deuces, on Zoom.
Roberts, yes. And Doucette will be joining us by Zoom.
You say yes.
I would like to start the public hearing off with, or the budget hearing off with saying thank you to the department heads and anyone else who worked with us to get the budget prepared for tonight. So thank you guys. And with that being said, I also want to just make sure everybody signs in tonight as they come in. If anybody forgot to, please do so. And then we'll dive right into the select board budget. The bottom line for the select board this year is for the proposed budget is $23,951 with a 1% increase.
And just so people know, you might want to say we'll go through each.
Yep.
And then they can ask questions.
And we'll go through each budget individually, and you can ask any questions you'd like. So, are there any questions on the select board budget?
General question, do you have any general statements as to the bottom line, what's happening, and salary increases or general major changes?
Well, in
No,
general,
it's not just the selection, but
yeah, in general, we gave employees a 3% cost of living adjustment. So salaries will be up by the 3%, and then whatever taxes and
The overall budget's down by 3.9%.
like, what?
The
3.9.
overall budget down by 3.9.
The overall town budget's down by 3.9% for the
From last
proposed
year.
budget from last year.
Because we had the expendable trust last year, we didn't have to add the $20,000, $200,000 this year that had been raised in previous years. So that was great.
However, the capital project for the transfer station last year, we used $100,000 from the unexpended fund, unaccounted,
Unassigned.
unassigned fund balance, and we didn't do that this year, so that line is 274,460 instead of 174. So that's all I got for major changes.
Yes,
Becky Mason, what was the percentage healthcare cost increase this year?
It was 15.65%. Last year it was 11.
15.65%.
And a follow-up, did your liability go up?
Liability,
Property liability?
no, I mean,
Oh.
very small.
small.
I don't have the percentage.
That's okay.
I can look it up.
No, that's
It's in
fine.
the, yeah.
Because those are the major ones that hit.
Sorry?
Those are the major ones that hit. And I was gonna ask about New Hampshire retirements. Did that go up?
Not sure what it went up. It was 13.65%. So I'm not sure what that is relative to last year's percentage.
That's for group one employees. I don't know if the police and fire went up, their group,
Yeah,
That-
or
they
they're one
jumped.
and we're two, something like that.
They jumped, so
Yeah, yeah.
that's why I was asking, because they were at like at 33, so. Thank you.
Are there any other questions about the overall budget before I get started into going through the department heads individually, or the departments individually? If there aren't, I'm gonna start off with the select board budget. Are there any questions on the select board budget? Yes?
I just wondered why the flex spending account jumped from $500 to $7,000.
Are you talking about town administration budget?
Yep. Oh,
Okay.
sorry, you said select board, I'm sorry.
Yes.
You guys don't have flex spending.
I was wondering where you're going with that. If there aren't any questions on the select board budget, I will move on to the town administration budget. And the overall budget presented is $221,835 with a 6% overall increase. So if there are any questions, we will entertain them. Yes.
That's my question about the flex spending HRA account going up to $7,000.
We consolidated all of the HRA and HSA numbers into one line.
When you say you consolidated all of them,
So all the
Throughout the
employees
budget?
who are currently taking HSA and FSA are in that line.
okay. And I'll ask those questions.
If could you please sign in when you come through?
Sure.
Right behind you by the
Thank you.
podium.
Then you can pick up a warrant.
Sorry, Becky, were you gonna go some follow up with that?
I'll go with the other departments that it still says that there's money in the flex spend for 2024 budget. She answered that she consolidated them all, so then if there's some left in other accounts, then you can answer when we go through those departments.
Okay. Yes.
Can you tell me, I know this year last year you had a Christmas party for the employees. Where is that in the budget?
Office supplies.
Is it back in there again this year for?
And that the office supplies line is down 15% overall. Yes.
On the trustees' fees, just a comment that the honorarium or whatever we get has been at $100 per person since I started 20 years ago or whatever. So any increase somewhere along the line might be in line.
Noted, so noted.
Emery, I do have another question.
Yep.
Why did the the full-time budget line go down?
So that number is calculated, it's a 3% raise for the town administrator. And then she is going to be taking a, during the summer months, 5 hours less a week, less work time. And so there's a deduction from my pay for that.
5 hours per week? Reason being?
Summer's slow, save the town money.
There any other? Yes.
What, summer's slow, what's the difference between the seasons then?
Budgeting.
Just budgeting, that's it?
You know, budgeting's like a 5-month process that,
Budgeting, warrant.
Did we not used to have a budget committee?
Yeah, we've
Yes, we've had a budget committee years in the past.
And what happened to that?
We have not had it in the last couple of years.
well, it's a volunteer thing. We ask if anybody's interested in being on the budget committee, and nobody shows up.
or people did show up, and we changed the process a few years ago to have the department heads come into the meetings, the select board meetings, and kind of just conduct the process with the select board.
So in the future, would this board be receptive to reinstituting a budget committee if we get enough volunteers?
Possibly, but we could consider that in next year's
Yeah.
budget process.
Okay.
So, are there any other questions pertaining to the town administration budget? Not hearing any more questions on the town administration budget. We will move on to the town clerk tax collector budget. The overall proposed budget for 2024 is $210,086, and that is a 36% overall increase. Now I will,
Because, question mark,
so I will now entertain questions, so if you,
And Kim is here.
with such a large increase, why,
The big,
what
For making the deputy position full-time.
full-time.
for making the deputy position full-time.
Well, and Kim used to have oh no, that wouldn't affect
Two
the budget.
part-time,
No, it's
but she's
just-
going
Yeah,
to
two
full-time.
part-time to one full-time, yeah.
My warrant article, separate warrant article is no longer, we're putting it in under this budget. So
Right.
that's a combination of a full-time deputy with what I used to have as separate warrant article.
makes sense, thank you.
Yes, Becky?
Again, I'm gonna bring up flex spending because it says for the proposed budget, there's $2,000 in flex spending, so did you take all departments and put them into that?
You know, I thought I did. And I don't, yeah, I'd have to, I'm not sure. I intended to, but,
Okay, cause there's a couple more, so
yeah,
that's.
yeah,
okay.
I hear you.
Any other questions on the town clerk tax collector budget? Yes, Becky?
I see that you're proposing 9,000 for equipment. Do we know what equipment that is?
I was just gonna answer that. The other increase is, with the ballot law commission and them looking at new machines for voting, the average cost of the couple, 3 machines that have been presented is $7,000.
Other questions on the town clerk tax collector budget? Proposed budget? Yes.
Can we institute paper ballots?
We can, as a matter of fact, there's a
Have
warrant article.
have we not thought about going back to paper ballots? That way we avoid any kind of
We
mischief.
use paper, we use paper, it's just that a machine counts them. So if we didn't use the machine, we'd
Be there all night counting.
In the
But-
years past, I've gone back and forth being cost effective, trying to, in regards to if we have a town or election that has no contested races, and we just print paper ballots and hand count, and we don't use the machine. The big part of the machine is the memory card coding. Costs quite a bit of money. It goes by number of offices, who's running, depends on this, even on the state and federal elections, the state pays for the ballots to be printed and sent to us, but the coding of the memory card is on the municipalities. So we get,
And
that's where that,
and where does the memory coding come from? What entity?
right now what company we're using is LHS, they're called, out of Londonderry.
Okay.
Or Salem, New Hampshire, I'm sorry. And they are in the running for this next machine, when that time may come or may not come. On this yellow packet, you have the last warrant article, I think it's the last, Keith, is one in reference to going back to paper and not using a machine. Yep.
Yes, Becky?
Just a question on postage, because I see that last year pre-audit we spent $36.59 and we're only budgeting $35, and we've got major elections this year.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there, Beck, honestly. I'd have to go back
I mean,
and
we've
look
got
at it.
the state and the Fed.
No, I know
and-
that. I'm not sure why that number's so high.
No, I was asking if it should be a little higher because we spent $36.59 last year.
I meant last year's numbers, why it's so
Oh,
high. I'm not sure
okay.
if that's, I didn't go back to see.
You think 35 is gonna be enough with all the elections we have going on?
Well, we had 50 absentee ballots for the primary, so I'm not sure.
Okay, well, I know the postage went up, that's what I'm asking.
Other questions for the town clerk tax collector budget? If there are no more questions, I will move on to the election and registration budget. The overall 2024 proposed budget is $10,398 with a 74% increase. And we have
Sharon's not here, but it's because there's
Four.
multiple elections.
there's
Yeah.
4 elections
Four elections.
in 2024. That would be the reason for the dramatic increase over last year. If there are no questions for the election and registration budget, I will move on to the treasury budget. The overall 2024 proposed budget is $7,914 with a 2% overall increase. I will entertain any questions.
Should I ask this in the general?
Yes?
Are all the mileages figured at the new mileage rate?
It will be in '24.
Oh, I thought it went into effect in July.
Not that I'm aware of, it was just adopted last
Okay.
select board meeting.
Are there any questions on the treasury budget? Not hearing any questions, I'm going to move on to the data processing budget. The overall 2024 proposed budget is $56,774 with an overall increase of 10%. Are there any questions? Yes, Mo?
The internet services and Spectrum, the pre-audited was 8,000 and you're only proposing 4,391.
It's probably, so I've moved, that had a combined number in it. I can give you the blow by blow, but,
Any other questions? Hearing no other questions, I'm gonna move on to the reevaluation of property budget. The overall 2024 proposed budget is $68,700. The overall increase is 96%. And the reason for the dramatic increase is because next year, well, in
This year.
2024 is, yeah, this year, sorry, is going, this is our reevaluation year. Yes, Becky?
I have a question concerning that because when we filed a contract with our appraiser, that contract included in his monthly stipend a 20% that used to be included in the CIP, that every year he would do 20% of the town so that at the end of his 5-year contract, 100% of the town was reevaluated. That contract ended this year, so the 100% should be the reevaluation should be done.
that's not how it works. He does 20% of the properties every year, but the reevaluation year is a complete reset of all the data inputs that go into the database. And so, yes, he looks at 20% of the properties every year, but in year 5, the entire town is reevaluated, and it's not just, I can pull the contracts if you like.
That's
but-
fine, but the town was led to believe many years ago, because this wasn't the last 5-year period, we did a statistical revow 3 years ago where they compared sales prices and did everything. But there was money put aside every year. He had 2 contracts, but the payment was combined into one, so he got it monthly. That after he was doing 20% of the town for a reeval, so that at the end of 5 years, this town was totally reevaluated and should be back up to its percentage.
Well, that may be your understanding, but that's not how it's been presented to me or the select board. We can pull
I
the
think you can
contracts.
check with Willie too, because he did that contract in 2018.
We can pull the contracts if you want.
2019 was the last reval year, and you're right, yes, everything got brought up at that point, and now we're doing it again in 2024, 5 years later. So the assessor goes out and looks at 20% every year, and then brings everybody up at the same time, every 5 years.
In the
Does that
same
make
year.
sense?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Other questions? Yes.
On mapping, what's happening this year that it's up 2,300.
I'm not sure, actually. When did I put that number in, about 6 months ago? I'll try to pull that back and I'll circle back on it. I don't remember.
Other questions on the re-evaluation of property?
If this is, excuse me, one question. If this is the last year of reevaluation, is there a new proposal put out, or is it, are there, yeah, you know, like, and people, does it go to a, not a
Like an
ballot,
RFP, like a request for proposals?
Yes,
From other-
exactly, thank you. Yeah, does that happen? Or do you stay with the same company all the time?
This year we
Stayed with the same
We
company.
stayed with the same company, but that is something we'd look into in the,
You know, shop a little bit maybe?
yeah. Yeah, we could send out an RFP next time around to multiple companies and get a few prices. Other questions on the reevaluation of property?
I don't have the short memory that many of you do, but I feel like I've heard discussions like that over the years, comparing bids from different professionals who evaluate properties for us. So I don't, as I say, I don't remember details like you all do. That's why I'm not sitting up there. But I feel like I've heard discussions. There have been comparisons of different providers.
I believe the town's been with Rod for 10 years? Yeah,
Because
2
when
cycles.
when we went out, it's like everything else, nobody's going into the world of assessing. Because, what was it, 2 years ago, we contacted Avatar.
Yeah.
And they had no assessors available, they were booked out solid, so.
And there is the argument made about sort of the institutional memory somebody gains about a town, that is valuable.
Any other questions on the revaluation of property? Hearing no more questions, I'm gonna move on to the planning board, budget.
Oh,
Oh, sorry. So, oh, it was kind of whited out on my page, my bad.
It was on
The legal budget, the overall 2024 proposed budget is $35,000, which is down 50% from last year, and one of the major reasons being is because we had a preambulation dispute with the town of Sandwich, and that cost us a ton of money in legal fees. I don't have that information in front of me, but
I would have to pull it separately. But I mean, it was in the 30 to 40 range, maybe even higher.
Yeah.
It's been settled.
so, yes, Becky?
The amount that's spent year to date does not match the vendors list. So was the vendors list printed out earlier than the year to date was put into the budget?
That may be also, as you know, at the end of the year and the beginning of the year, there's a lot of puts and takes that the auditors will make adjustments for. So
Well, it was 72 something in your vendor report, and it's 75 there.
So it's 72 versus 75, yeah, that's one billing cycle that probably the auditors are gonna adjust, but I can't really speak to it exactly.
Okay, thank you.
What's the next one?
You did legal.
Payroll.
Whited out.
Personnel? No?
No, what is?
Guessing, I'm guessing.
Total personnel benefits.
What is
What do you
it?
mean it's whited out?
Total personnel
It's just the
benefits
cell's not expanded.
Yeah,
Oh,
is what it says.
it's whited out, it's,
Yeah, I
It's
see
crossed
it
out
there,
there,
but
yeah.
yes, that's what the original one
Personal.
said.
thank
sorry
you.
about that.
Just personnel benefits. Moving on to the, are there any other questions on the legal budget? Hearing none, moving on to the, personnel, what is it, personnel?
Oh, you can see them.
Benefits.
Personnel benefits, sorry, I didn't look at the personnel benefits budget. The overall 2024 proposed budget is $1,122, which is down 16% overall. Questions? Hearing none. Gonna move on to the planning board budget. The overall budget proposed for 2024 is $12,396, which is down 60% over last year. I will entertain any questions on the planning board budget.
Consulting fee is down 17,000. Was there something special in the 23 that was expected and not?
It's the build-out analysis, so the funds were encumbered and the work's getting done now.
Any other questions on the planning board budget? Hearing none, I'm going to move on to the compliance agent budget. The overall 2024 proposed budget is $13,937, and this is a new budget, so there's no, yes, Becky.
One for the salary, is that a stipend or is that an hourly wage?
That's an hourly wage.
And how many hours is it?
10 a week for 48 weeks at $26 an hour.
And then the next question is, if it's a compliance officer, will they not have to travel? There's no mileage line for the compliance officer.
Yes.
Could you explain what a compliance agent is?
You want to
And why do we have it?
Yeah, so so the town is responsible for following up on any complaints for any ordinances that that the town has. So we have a junkyard ordinance that's mandated by the state. We have a groundwater protection ordinance. We have subdivision regulations. We have a floodplains ordinance. And the select board, the buck stops with the select board, and in probably less complicated times, that worked out okay. But what we find is that, the select board changes possibly every 3 years, and you can start a project of like working with somebody to bring them compliant to state and town regulations. But then you have this big shuffle of a board turning over, and things fall through the cracks, and the town is ultimately liable. So, and the requirements for enforcement are getting more and more complicated. And it's kind of like, it's an unfunded mandate in a lot of cases. So we're trying to hire somebody to be present for these complaints should they come through, so that the enforcement's consistent, and so that people in town also don't feel like there's any one particular group going after people. It's just a consistent thing.
Has the person been hired,
Yes.
and what's their background?
Probably the easiest thing for you to do is, so all these hirings happen at public meetings. He has a law enforcement background. He's a retired lifelong law enforcement agent. You can see the minutes of the meetings when we talked about him. His last name I'm going to forget.
Mortone, Ed Mortone.
Ed Mortone is his name. We also have Charlie Townsend working on the junkyard specifically, which is a smaller stipend.
But we've never had that position before, so why are we doing it now? Why aren't the select board doing that?
The groundwater.
They've done it in the past.
Yeah, and quite honestly, we've been getting a lot of complaints about select boards over the years doing things inconsistently, because it's really hard to maintain consistency when you change boards. So if one group starts a series of actions and then you have a big transition in the board and you're trying to train new board members to get up to speed with all the other responsibilities they have, and you end up having a year-long lag between the initial contact around enforcement and then the follow-up, it's not fair to anybody. And it's not consistent, and it leaves the town open to liability. And believe me, I don't think anybody wants to have to be in a position of enforcement. We don't want to have to spend the money, but we also want to be fair.
So has there been a scope of his responsibilities? Is there one that's available and printed out? And
There's the job description that we posted. We had 3 applicants, and he was hired, so you could see the job description. It's probably somewhere, I don't know if it's still on the website somewhere, but you could find it from the town office. You can look at the groundwater protection ordinance, which is what he's starting with. You can look at the junkyard ordinance, which is what Charlie's working with. And we could talk to you about any of the specifics. Part of the fact that they're new positions, part of their work entails that they have to work to create the scope of what the job is. So they're working with the groundwater protection, the groundwater ordinance protection committee from the planning board to understand, what the intent of the ordinance is, what the scope of it is, so that the enforcement's following the intent.
so just for now, is he strictly just an agent? Will he go out and see, and if he finds anything that is of interest to him that isn't in compliance, just to report back to you? Or does he approach property owners, knock on doors, or anything like that?
I think he's more proactive than just reporting to us. He's not just doing the legwork. He is going to be the person who interacts with the property owner to make sure that they understand the ordinance and to work with them to come in compliance. So we're, as a board, looking at this as it is technically enforcement, but we want it to be an educational, collaborative effort rather than a 3 strikes and you're paying a fine effort. So he's going to be working with property owners. If something comes up and there's a tension that he feels like he would like support with, he'll come to the select board. And he keeps us appraised of, his progress.
The goings on out
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have a question, Linda Cook.
Yes?
Hi, this is Linda Cook. So will he be the enforcing officer, or does the selectman have to enforce the policies?
He's authorized to enforce the policy as our agent.
Okay.
Becky, because I saw your hand.
You mentioned someone doing the junkyards. Where is their salary in the budget?
Where's Charlie's compensation?
Is it rolled into that compliance agent amount?
It is not.
No, I was going to say it can't be.
It was coming out of the town administrator's budget last year. Good question, Becky. Let's see. I think, you know where it is, it's in the part-time salaries of a town administrator. It's pretty much a stipend.
Okay.
Yes.
One more question on that. How many instances have we had per year in the town with regard to non-compliant ordinances?
Yeah, such a good question. Well, the groundwater protection is new. It just went into effect January 1st, so none yet, thankfully. The junkyard is a much trickier thing because the state definition is kind of hard to narrow down, and that's the definition that we use. So, for instance, a compliance issue could be you calling up saying that your neighbor's got 10 bags of trash in their yard. Or it could be somebody saying, this guy's got 50 cars in his yard. So all of those have to be dealt with. Sometimes we don't contact the property owner, because if you've got 10 bags of trash in your yard, it's not a junkyard issue. But we get a surprising number of complaints for that particular category. Yep.
Other questions on the compliance agent budget? Hearing none, I'm going to move on to the zoning board budget. The overall 2024 proposed budget is $1,761 with a 3,223% increase. Questions on the zoning board budget?
We don't have zoning in town. Why do we even have a ZBA?
Okay, it's another legal requirement, and the state mandates that different agencies are required to deal with different situations around ordinances. And honestly, I don't have it in front of me which ones the ZBA is in charge with. But if there's a dispute, the ZBA we have to have a ZBA that can deal with the dispute. It's probably not going to come up in Tamworth, honestly, but by law we have to have this board.
They deal with appeals of planning board decisions.
That's right. Yes.
Did you hear that, Bruno? It's appeals of planning board decisions.
You say so.
State says so.
Well, we've always had it, it just wasn't active. It's
Right.
become very active now, since the groundwater protection and all that, and all the changes in the subdivision rules
Right.
and stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, they're changing their rules of use and policies and applications because I think the last application revision was 1980.
Right. Yeah.
Any other questions on the zoning board budget, proposed budget? Hearing none, I'm going to move on to the government buildings budget. The overall 2024 proposed budget is $135,026 with a 5% total increase. Questions on the 2024 proposed budget for the office buildings?
Can you give a summary as to what's happened here? Because you've changed things around.
Basically, it's a consolidation of the lines to simplify the budget.
And we have a maintenance department now. So
Yeah.
some of the maintenance lines are gone because they're in the maintenance budget.
There were just a lot of lines, didn't seem to be necessary to break it out in that detailed fashion.
Well, it was broke out in that detail because the first year we put it in, we wanted people to know where we were pulling different items from.
Do you
So
have
the
another question?
salary of this is for the maintenance person.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. There isn't okay, I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, you're right,
Yeah,
sorry.
Okay, nope, that's all right, I was confused.
I just have a question on the generator. Because you know it's not, it keeps needing repairs, and God help you if you get a grant, and a new one costs around $30,000-$40,000, and we're only budgeting $8,000 when we spent $6,000, and before that, we actually spent $16,000, so I'm concerned that 8 might be a little narrow.
What was the 30 or 40,000?
To replace
To
it.
replace.
No, it's more like 130.
So Zach,
I know he's looking at grants.
well, and he's not here, and he came to us about the, like presenting on this. Somebody else rack your brain about what he said, but he'd been working on it, seemed like it worked, it was in whatever, and he's looking at replacement down the road. He thought that number, as I recall, and he's the one that deals with it.
As the emergency manager.
As the emergency manager, yes. Sorry, Zach.
That's okay.
Yeah. That was his recommendation based on working on it.
Last year we spent 6.
I mean, no offense, I know he said parts are hard to get, so when you have a hard to get part, if you gotta replace it, the price usually goes up on it, so. Just questioning whether 6 is gonna be, whether the 8's gonna be enough.
Well, we do have the contingency funds if we get in a bind.
Expendable trust, yeah.
The expendable, yeah, the expendable funds.
Yes, Mel?
What town buildings are under the maintenance and town buildings, the grounds, what buildings are there?
Town office, police department,
It's 11 buildings.
thank you.
Yeah. Well, 'cause up above you have town, you didn't scratch off the town office buildings up above, you just crossed it off over in the budgeted lines. Let's see. See, you stood up town office, ground maintenance, police buildings and grounds.
Are
No,
there-
the ones that were on there, we just kind of
Next
scratched
off.
them,
Right, but they
consolidated.
were over here still, not over there.
So those are buildings involved, it's just that you combined or
We
consolidated.
put it
Still
all
maintaining
together
Yeah.
under 714 and 715.
Okay.
Some of the buildings weren't listed, and the few that were, might be easier just to put them all together.
Sure, yeah, yep, yep.
Other questions on the office building budget? Town office building, Hearing no more questions, I'm going to move on to the townhouse budget. The 2024 proposed budget for the townhouse is $11,960 with an overall increase of 2%.
I have a question on that. If we spent on P $3,965 and you're only gonna propose 3,000,
We have a lower propane price.
it's not propane.
We have a lower oil price too.
Did you ever, last year with the telephone and Wi-Fi, did you ever call Spectrum to just put it to Wi-Fi instead of the package deal? Because I had mentioned,
Something that you want.
I had mentioned that last year at the budget hearing, that we had a package deal and to call Spectrum to get it so it's just Wi-Fi.
Alright, well, let's follow up after the meeting. 'cause I don't-
So how is your phone currently working as far as calling and leaving messages?
It's
to-
consolidated because
Okay.
of the fire alarm.
Gotcha,
And in order to get internet, we got a package deal
yeah.
with Spectrum. And that ran out a long time ago.
So the phone line's a consolidated line now and it shouldn't be a package deal anymore with Spectrum?
Right.
Any other questions on the townhouse budget, proposed budget? I'm gonna move on to the Energy Committee. The proposed 2024 budget is $915. The Energy Committee is new, so there was no 2023 budget to compare to. Questions?
What is it?
Yes. Who wants to take the question? Anybody else? Anybody wants to?
Richard,
What's the question?
what's the energy committee?
Their goal is to help the town save money on electric bills and help the residents of the town save money on their electric bills as well. So they've worked with a couple of contractors to do an energy audit of the town office building. And they've made some recommendations that are in the budget to tighten up the building. And they also have been working on a new energy provider. Instead of just Eversource, people can choose a different provider. So they've been chugging through that process that's spelled out in the state law.
Yes, Mom.
The mileage, don't you think all committees then, I mean, Conservation Commission, Planning Board, all of them would get mileage? I don't understand. I mean, they're a volunteer committee, and that comes with volunteering is the mileage. And what would they need for office supplies that the town doesn't already have in the,
Anybody have answers
They
to
have
this?
taken up flyers and things to send to members of the public. So they do some printing.
yeah, I see that one.
And I guess, yeah, mileage, I guess that's something that the other committees should think about and we should think about as to whether, do the volunteer committees, do they just not qualify for mileage or they just have never done it because it wasn't, they didn't do it last year? You know, that's a good question.
No committee's ever got mileage. I mean,
I think that this mileage, and it's hard to, we should remember that if you've got a line item, you should be here, that's helpful. But as I recall, that mileage is the one before, I don't know why mileage is there.
I guess another question is, at this budget hearing, is there gonna be any, like, if you decided to take out the mileage, would you do that? Or do you have to wait to town meeting? I guess with these questions.
No, you could do it tonight.
Yeah,
Okay,
like isn't that how it's always been?
right,
Yeah.
but I mean, I didn't know with you guys if you were gonna do it differently or not, so.
Nope.
I think it's cleaner to do it now.
Right.
If no other committee gets mileage, then let's delete the mileage on the energy committee.
Well, then can we backtrack to the compliance officer and say whether you're gonna put mileage in or you're gonna let him drive around for you?
He needs mileage.
No, yeah.
So do you wanna,
Maybe we should just move that amount from energy committee over to the compliance agent.
Would we like to go back to the compliance agent and add mileage in?
Well, is there a difference? A compliance agent, he looks like he is, an employee of the
Yes.
town,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So the committee, energy committee is volunteer, correct?
Right.
Okay, so I think that kind of explains it right there, right?
but he has no mileage.
But he should have mileage.
should
No,
have
we're
mileage.
saying
Should-
add
if he's
it,
not
yeah, add it
using
to
a-
there.
How much would you like me to add?
Vehicle.
140 or,
I have to do math, I'll do the math.
well,
I can
You know how
figure-
many miles he drives?
No, I can figure it out.
Not a lot yet.
Well,
So if it's working.
if he's going out to different areas in the town,
And he's not driving every day, because, a lot of his work is gonna be at his desk. So what is the new rate, 67, 45?
67.
I think it's gonna be more than 140.
No, I think so too. All right.
We could put in $500
We'll
for
come back to the
mileage.
compliance
Why don't we
agent,
just
I'll
put
do
in
some math,
500?
we can take
Okay.
out
Yeah.
the 400.
How about, do
You
we need a
can
motion?
No, we're doing it right now.
Well,
You don't need
Not,
You can do it at the end to accept all changes you did
Right.
to the budget.
Okay, so we're gonna put in 500 for now.
for the
For the
compliance.
compliance officer,
and take 140 out.
mileage, we're gonna add a line for the compliance officer for $500. Yes,
Just a quick question, since we're on the compliance officer. Are they a resident of the town, or are they traveling from somewhere else?
Resident of town,
Okay, thanks.
yeah.
and we're gonna be removing the $140 mileage line from the energy committee.
back to the energy committee, the line above that, dues, subscriptions, training, and mileage.
That was the mileage I was thinking of. That's a specific thing because there's a training or a workshop that they have to go to in Concord. And that's what that mileage is. I don't know what the second mileage is.
But they're a volunteer. I mean, I'm a volunteer, and I don't get mileage.
It's for the training.
It's for their training for the,
But do we need this committee?
I would argue yes. And they're already looking at ways to offer townspeople through, I'm not gonna remember the RSA, the new law, but to choose a different power provider by having block buying that will save dramatic amounts for townspeople in their own private home electricity. So I think just having some people do legwork to that'll help all of us reduce our electric bills is a savings to the town.
I thought the 250 was for the training that they were doing, so maybe just scratch the mileage off of dues.
And maybe the mileage is part of that?
Yeah, the mileage in my budget is for dues, subscription, and training is for my deputy or myself if we're going to trainings or workshops. I take the mileage out of that line as well.
Right.
For reimbursement.
And office supplies, I mean, what would they need differently, like copy paper in the office, I mean, what would it require?
All I can tell you is that they came, all the boards and all the committees and all the department heads came over a series of weeks to the select board with explicit presentations about their budget. They went through it line by line with us, we asked questions, and we don't have instant recall of what poster board they needed, but it made sense at the time, and we thought that given the aggregate of their presentation and what the town was going to get from it, $975 seemed like short money to get a big savings for townspeople, for taxpayers. And even though it's $975 going into the budget, which comes from taxes, the homeowner savings for electricity seemed like it made up for it above and beyond on the other side. So I don't remember what the specifics were, but I'm just saying that was my takeaway from the presentation, that this was a good investment for taxpayers, ultimately.
Can I just mention something? So I did that myself. I went online to the New Hampshire, energy department, right? And found who was available, the kind of power they generated, you had your choice. So it is out there.
Yep.
The information's out there. Now, I understand there's a lot of people that aren't savvy when it comes to a computer. A lot of this information probably could be put at town hall. Maybe there could be a few nights available to people to come in with their bills so that they could be shown how to go online and do that. It was a very easy process. Probably took 5 minutes.
Yeah, and I've done that also. I've
Right,
been doing
so-
it for years, but
Now, if there's a group that can get better rates than our fund, I cut my energy charge.
That's what we're finding.
Not the transmission charge, the
Right.
energy charge, over 50% less than Eversource was off.
These are municipalities all around the state that are,
Yes, I understand, yeah.
and so Tamworth is trying to join that
Okay,
group.
good, great.
There's a comment on Zoom from Nancy Sheridan that this has been done in other New Hampshire towns and people have been very happy about it, or it can save each of us a fair amount of money in our electric costs.
Any other questions on the Energy Committee budget? Hearing none, I'm going to move on to the cemeteries budget. The overall 2024 proposed budget is $32,610 with a 3% decrease.
Comment that we did not get any, we got a cut last year, we requested this year there'd be the same, but you cut us some. I think we've been giving money back, but just wondering why you cut it further.
There was a request to all department heads to cut a certain percentage, and as you didn't spend your entire budget, there was,
So this budget that we're looking at was proposed by the cemetery.
It was proposed, and what Keith is saying is we sent out a request to find some areas to cut to each department head a certain percentage, and so that's where the decrease came from. Yes, Becky?
I have a question, if you don't mind asking John. When are your contracts up for your maintenance? Because that could change drastically if they have to go out this year.
We have, we're in the second year, I believe, of a 3-year contract. We have a provision in there that it could go up with the fuel price increases, but fuel price has been fine, so
Just this last week, they've increased by over 10 cents in a week. That's my only concern about cutting that, because I knew you had contracts, and I did know you had that caveat in there if there's a drastic increase in fuel prices.
yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions on the cemetery's budget? Hearing none, I'm going to move on to the insurance not otherwise allocated. The overall 2024 proposed budget is $58,747 with a 9% increase, and what that is the property and liability insurance. Yes.
I have a question, does that count covering the entire addition when it's completed, that it's not gonna go up more than the 58 because that
Yeah, it
addition will
does.
be in there? It does? Okay, thank you.
So it does include the addition, I'm sorry.
yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, I'm going to move on to the economic development budget. There will not be, it's blank because we're not going to have the economic development committee this year dissolved. So, moving on to the grants and emergency response. The 2024 proposed budget is $903,132 with an 8% increase.
That's general
That's,
government.
no, that's zero for the.
Sorry.
Yeah, because it's hard,
Oh
because there aren't
yeah,
any
so there's
numbers
zero
at
for
once.
I apologize. There's zero for the grants and emergency response. The
Public safety.
moving on to the public safety, the police department. We'll start off with the police department. The 2024 proposed budget is $401,531 with a overall 3% decrease. Yes.
Why is a part-time salary only $1,000?
We essentially took, because the cuts that we're asked to make, hiding behind the post here, we have 3 full-time positions slated in our budget. Essentially what we did is allocate one of those positions to our part-time, who's part-time consistently, doing 30 hours a week under New Hampshire retirement rules. So that is sort of allocated into one of those full-time slots, leaving us, my full-time position and then money for a vacant position that we have open right now.
Any other questions?
I guess I don't understand why you're rolling it into full-time. We've always had part-time positions there. Why isn't the salary being broken out for part-time? We've always had full-time positions and part-time positions, back before I even came to town.
Yeah, the part-time position has often been allocated for I don't wanna say inconsistent part-time help, but, you know, essentially inconsistent part-time help, whereas we took this money, which is a larger chunk, and just kind of allocated it. I mean, I guess in my mind, it's sort of a wash. We can, if Elaine says, hey, we need to take that out of the part-time, and we just overspend that line, and it doesn't come out of full-time, whatever. It's one half dozen the other in my mind, but essentially, you know, the way I allocated is that the part-time who is, again, consistent and takes up a large chunk is allocated into one of those full-time positions for right now, for this year's budget.
So is that person getting health insurance then too? And what was the big jump in health insurance? Just looking at
Anytime we have a vacancy, we have to budget at the top amount, which is like a family plan, with an unknown, you know, like, you know, our hopes is maybe they come in and take the stipend.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
The animal control officer, who also flips in the summertime to become the parking attendant officer, where is he paid out of?
He was paid out of the part-time line, which will probably eat through that line for the parking enforcement of the police budget.
So I guess again, why wouldn't it make sense to put all the part-time in the part-time line?
One half dozen the other, I guess. It doesn't really.
So is the
This is
animal
Linda Cook.
control- Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Yes. The part-time officer that is consistent, she can't be full-time because she is retired from the sheriff's department, is that correct?
She's retired from Tamworth Police Department.
Retired, well, okay. But, I mean, if she can't be full-time, why would she be under a full-time budget line? Shouldn't it be like just under a part-time one?
Again, it was just where the money is allocated from. It doesn't.
I mean, we have two lines, I
mean,
think
she's
we use the two
full-time.
lines that are consistent with their job.
I mean, it's one half dozen the other, I think.
I think ideally, we would like to see the police department fully staffed, and that would be 3 full-time officers with the animal control and, what's the parking title? The parking enforcement. So one of our considerations was that we wanted to keep the money where we wanted those full-time positions. The sergeant is working right now, but she's on a retirement track, and we're hoping that that's not going to happen immediately, but we want to make sure that that funding is in place for a full-time officer when she retires.
So did we say the animal control officer is in this line or is it
No,
someplace else?
his parking enforcement duties are separated out.
Under a different budget or? are
They come out of the police budget.
Where?
Right down.
Okay.
Did you just say they're broken out? The parking attendants broken out?
No.
It's in a part-time.
What was the question?
The animal control is in a separate budget, I
Right,
think that's what you were
animal
saying.
control's in a separate budget.
That's what I was wondering.
But no, it's in parking attendant, that's town employees.
It's down
I
lower.
thought I saw it,
Yeah.
yes.
So just
Yes.
to clarify, so we have a part-time who's doing 30, we have you, and then we're also looking for another full-time. And that's impacting the health insurance and the budget item. Then when the individual, if she retires permanently, is there anticipation of her doing that this year? Okay.
Hope not.
Don't know, right?
No, you never know.
So, does that fall into the part-time holiday buyout and stuff then too?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
What was the question?
We can't hear back.
Does since we're not separating out part-time, is the part-time and full-time that you're looking for incorporated in all the following, like the holiday buyout, the health stipend buyout, the...
Part-time carries no benefits.
So that, all that's in the retirement line, just use for an example, Dana, it would be
Mine
for
and
yours
the
and this
vacant.
potential full-time.
Correct.
Yes, okay,
Yeah, and all the other recruitments that go with it.
yep.
Other questions?
Yes, this is Linda again. The prosecutor line, is that somebody that's hired or is that done in from one of the offices that we have?
That is me. I do it. It's a kind of an additional duty to my general role and what I do.
Some departments.
Is it in your job? Is it in his job description to be the prosecutor, or is it like a separate thing that he isn't in his job description?
It's a separate job description assigned to an officer as seen fit to do it.
Some departments hire separate individuals. This is actually more cost effective. To have Dana do it.
Any other questions? I'm gonna move on to the ambulance budget. Just one line.
Yep.
Just one line. So the 2024 proposed budget is $191,072, a 9% decrease.
And this is the last year of a 5-year contract. Next year we'll get a jump.
It is the last year?
This is the
Yeah.
last year of a five-year contract.
Yeah.
When you put that out to bid?
Yeah.
Yep.
And is it the decrease due to,
But we already have a contract.
I was gonna say, you
Yeah.
just signed, got 3 signed
Yeah,
contracts.
we have a
didn't you?
contract for the next 5 years.
Right.
And I don't know that you can put that out to bid,
Yeah.
because you're partnering with
Oh, multiple towns.
6 towns,
Yeah.
and we share the service, and it's a percentage of use
When that first started with the 6 towns getting together, it
Mhm.
was put out to bid.
as a consortium.
As a consortium,
Yeah.
coming together, all 6 towns, the vendors came in, spoke with all 6 towns, representatives, vendor chosen, and then you just, I thought, I'd read that
Yeah,
you just
signed up.
renegotiated
Yeah.
a new 5-year contract.
Not me personally, but the group.
The
yeah.
group, yeah. And are they still reducing the amount that the town pays based on calls, because that was being looked at?
Yeah, we've had a reduction every year for each of 5 years, but next year with the new contract, it bumps.
Again, yeah.
Yeah, not surprisingly.
Until they start looking
It's more
at it
like,
again.
it's in the 220s, I think. It's a pretty big bump. John, did you have a question?
I'm gonna, are there any other questions on the ambulance budget?
So that'll be, the contract will be out 2029?
Yeah.
I'm gonna move on to, I'm gonna move on to the fire and rescue budget. The total 2024 proposed budget is $376,726, with a 6% increase. Questions? Yes, Becky?
The FICA jumped 188%, is that because of the part-time?
You wanna explain it?
Is that
Yes,
because
it
of
is.
the
Going
part-timers?
from stipend
And then a
to
stipend to pay,
paid call.
on-call pay?
Correct.
And then dues, OVM, MA, NHFA went from 72,000 to 10,000?
OBMA went, correct me if I'm wrong, from, I believe, 6,000 a year to 10,000 because there was a radio grant the sheriff's office got, which did not include us, so we have to come up with, I think it's 68,000 for equipment. So that's why their dues increased.
Yes, Mel?
There's a building maintenance line. I thought all the buildings were back on, under the other maintenance line.
Fire department is sort of special.
So is it with, Rick said there was 11 buildings.
Well, I'll let Rick and,
Rick has been fantastic, the addition of him,
Yep, I
shoveling all
agree.
the outbuildings and anything I need. We all work very well together, but we've always carried, I think it's $5,000 for building maintenance. And last year we spent like 10 something because somebody took a door with them on a fire truck to a call.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I was
I
just
mean-
questioning because he had said that it was 11 buildings in the other line.
He does take care of those four.
With his furnaces and all.
Yep.
Rounds.
Yep. Okay.
Like the bigger ticket items, obviously.
Yep.
Other questions on the fire and rescue budget? I'm gonna move on to the fire department, other budget. The 2024 proposed budget is $5,000 with a 12% decrease. Questions on the fire department other budget? I'm gonna move on.
I have a question. Why did they take the salary out of that? Because it's always had a salary in case we had a major fire.
The Osprey Valley Mutual Aid Association voted that they will not, towns won't charge other towns. And if it's a big event, the state's going to be involved. So basically, we don't pay anybody, nor do we bill anybody.
The other part of that is, before we went to call, that's where the money for forest fires, by state law, you have to pay. That's where we used to take it out of.
Okay.
But now that's just gonna come out of the part-time fund.
Moving on to the, unless there's any other questions. Moving on to the emergency management budget. The 2024 proposed budget is $15,160 with a 242% increase. Questions? Yes, Becky?
I would like to know why you felt that you needed to double that budget. We really haven't had any emergency upped it last year. We really haven't had any drastic emergencies. When you go to do the FEMA paperwork and stuff, all the departments involved, like Richard and them, all have to gather their own paperwork to defend that paperwork and just hand it to somebody. I just think doubling a salary is an awful expense for that position, and maybe Chief Calder can speak to it because you're doing a hazardous mitigation plan or you do the emergency compliance plan and that's about it. Otherwise, unless you've got a major disaster going through, and as I've always said, the problem with having a fire department person, if you have a major disaster going through, is they have to respond to the disaster. So I don't mind seeing a 3% increase, but I think doubling that salary is something that the hours aren't there. You're paying that person half of what you're paying your compliance officer, who's going to be much more busy than your emergency management director.
I feel like we see Zach quite a bit in the office.
he's been working many hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, with all the rain this year, he's put in a ton of work.
Yeah.
We did have a pretty significant flood this, early in the summer.
The-
Not that, we did,
There's-
I mean, that wasn't maybe, it was pretty close to a natural disaster.
Well,
I mean, it wasn't a hurricane.
Other
but-
than a big city around here, which I'm going to say North Conway, the average towns, some don't pay their emergency managers, as we didn't for years because it was cheap, and then we did get a salary. Most of them pay $2,000. Osby pays $2,000 for their emergency management person. We're paying $6,000.
Well, when we put the emergency management position out, we didn't have people bending over backward to take the position, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I do think that Zach has been doing a great job and really stepped up, and put in a lot more time than than maybe necessary at times, but he's been doing a lot of work there.
And a lot of grant work related to the mitigation.
So some of the notes from when he came in and presented, and
I saw his presentation.
yeah, so he included that, like last winter, we had those 2 or 3 storms, snowstorms, and he had to do all of the kind of work to figure out, do we open the shelter, do we not open the shelter, what else do we provide? So that kind of work is increasing, and it goes back to, what I was saying about the compliance officer before, that like we can't even get people to run for office, right? The work of our town is dependent on volunteers, and some of it is like life and death work. So if we can't get somebody to volunteer to be the emergency compliance officer, and you're the person who, freezes in your house, I don't mean to be grim, but this stuff all falls on volunteers, and people are not stepping up into those roles. And it's hard because it puts a burden on everybody to pay for it, but if it's not done, what's that burden worth too? So it's tough.
I just say, I'm not saying you shouldn't increase it.
Yeah.
But I'm saying you doubled it. Nobody else in town, employees or compliance officers or anybody, got doubled their stipends. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I hear you. It's just a fine line to walk. And you've walked it. You know what it is.
Yes.
Can he keep track of his hours this year?
Sure.
Just to see how many hours he does work for.
Yep.
That's a good idea.
And why is he receiving a first responder stipend?
I don't remember
I
what
don't
that
know
is.
what that is.
You know what that is, Rich?
I have
Or
no
Jim?
idea.
Because he gets paid by the fire department if he responds, so.
What comes to mind is during COVID, we got a kickback through the state, but maybe that's left over from that?
Nope, that wasn't even included in there. Because this is the first year it showed up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do we
delete it?
Remove it?
Yeah, I don't have. I've got my other notes, but that's not part of it.
Also, is there, the other thing you can do is stand up at town meeting and make a motion if you feel strongly to
Cut it now?
Do you know?
reduce the,
do you know when Zach's back?
pay.
Well, he's not a volunteer, right?
No.
He's not paid. So the police department and the fire department, they're the volunteers of the, first of all, are they volunteers of the fire department now?
No.
Oh,
But they're paid to respond.
so they're paid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they don't get a stipend.
No.
So what is
Either
that,
gets paid or
what's
gets
that, what's the stipend supposed to be? Is that for first responder training? See, because otherwise,
Yeah.
what is it?
Becky, did they call, it was first responder stipend during COVID. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, but I'm saying it was never in the budget prior to
Right,
this
I
year,
understand
so I don't
that.
know what
So
it is. Because he gets paid if he responds by the fire department, he gets paid
Right.
on call.
Um,
They used to be stipends for if you kept
Right.
track of their hours, they paid them one lump sum. I don't know
I
why.
have no idea what that is. And to answer you, Zach will be back in 6 weeks.
Would we like to, take out the first responder stipend of $372? That was pretty simple.
And we have one more question.
Yes.
The hazardous mitigation planning updates, did we receive a grant for that? Is that why the 7,500's in here?
Mm-hmm.
So, are we meeting the hours to receive all the grant, or does it look like we're gonna have to pay some of that back?
No, we're doing all the hours.
Okay, thank you.
But is that a contract work or what?
The 7,500? Yeah, there's a consultant that works with a whole team of the town employees, Richard, Dana, me, Zach, Emily, and more, to work on the plan.
Any other questions on the emergency management budget? I'm gonna move on to the highway department. The total 2024 proposed budget for the highway department is $1,068,669, with a 2% overall increase. Yes.
The part-time salaries going up from 17 or 13 to 30,000, why such a big increase?
I can explain that because I'm having a real hard time just getting employees to help, especially in the wintertime, and that's when I need most of the people. And I needed more money to make sure I had enough in there to keep them going through the winter so that I didn't go over. The hourly wage remained the same. Do I think we're gonna use all of that? Probably not, but I don't wanna be short. It's really hard getting people to help us out in the wintertime now. It's very hard. That is the main reason for it.
You're talking subcontractors, right?
No, I'm just talking part-time help,
Oh,
help
okay.
out, to
Gotcha.
give us a hand.
Okay.
To come in and drive a truck when somebody's out, or help snow blow into Core Village, or if we have a big wind blow, to have somebody come in. I'm very lucky, I have some good part-timers, but it's just, the pool's dwindling. It is.
But is the rate the same, or the
It
rate
is,
is
yeah,
going?
it's the same, it's been right along, John, it has not gone up since last year.
Then is that going to
Go back into the general fund.
do any good?
Oh, to have the money there.
Right.
Are you saying you're gonna maybe give them more consistent work in the winter to be able to obtain those people?
Because I'm gonna need some more help.
To give them some more hours?
I need more help, more people, is what it's come down to, John. And it's cheaper for me to get a part-time guy than hire a full-time person. And it saves us money.
But I'm just concerned that if you're keeping the same rate and you're having now the problems of hiring, are you going to get any more bodies to do the work? Or should the rate be increased?
Yeah, it's just that what I'm trying to do is to bring more people in, just to open up the pool for my part-time guys, because I don't, it used to be I had 3 or 4 guys that were really good, and I know that I'm gonna have to get more. And I just, when they come in, my feeling is they know what the rate is. I don't think we should increase it.
But are you giving them more hours, is that what you're saying?
Some of them, yes. Yeah. The ones that are coming in the morning, helping out. It's a tough go in the wintertime. It is.
If it works.
Yes.
One question, we, instead of calling some people part-time, we call them per diem. Is that more?
What's the definition difference between part-time and per diem?
I don't know.
We have to look at the definitions and
The per
personnel
diem was
policy.
just when, as needed.
Yeah.
Versus a part-time.
Yeah, part-time
with
wouldn't necessarily be
consistency.
like scheduled.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And what's the other one? Permanent part-time. And I
Right.
Yeah.
I haven't known this permanent
Right.
part-time.
So they're more like a per diem as needed.
As needed, I can
Right.
call them there with
Right.
yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have a question about the health buyout stipend. How many employees is that for, do you know?
That would be 2.
2.
So they get
3,600.
3,600 a year because they don't take health insurance? Assuming because they get it from
Wherever,
a
that's
spouse
their
or whatever.
business, yeah.
I just think
That's
that's
a long
really high.
300 a month is what it is. It's actually, well, that's what it is.
I guess my company, I just think that's a pretty high amount.
I think the school is at 2,500 or 20, they might be up over 3,000 now. I'm thinking why a little while back, but the school does the same thing.
So
She was paying pretty dear.
how long has it
Is
been
it?
300? I think it's, do you know?
Long before my time, or two.
It's been 300 for many years.
Okay, I was just,
So it's actually lost ground against the current rate of health insurance.
Yes, Becky?
So I take it New Hampshire retirement went up almost $4,000. Is somebody else taking it, or did the rate go up that high? It went from budgeted of 30, and we're budgeting 35, and we spent 24.
It's 13.63% of full and part-time salary.
So because of the 3%, it jumped from almost $5,000.
It could be the projected increase
We
in
budgeted,
part-time.
well, but it's not consistent, that's why we budgeted 30,000 for 2023. Pre-audit is 24,300, with a remaining balance of 6,400, but we're increasing it to 35,453, which is a 15% increase. That's what I'm saying. I'm confused.
I know it, yeah, I know it did change, 'cause I have the new rates, but I don't have the old rates to compare to, but I know it usually go, these rates are effective July 1st of 23 till June 30th of 25, that I'm looking at for New Hampshire Retirement Group 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And they were much lower, in that other previous to this, but I don't have the numbers.
You budget based on the salaries you're allocating for that year, and because there was an increase in salaries, there's an increase.
Well, that's what I'm saying, probably because the increase, it jumped to 5,000, plus the rate increase. I couldn't track it through any other department, it stuck out in this one, because it's a smaller department that creates retirement. Okay, thank you.
Can I ask Richard a question?
Yes.
Richard, whatever happened with that fire truck that
We've been
you had
working on it. Oh, no, we've
taken?
got it. No, we've had it down again, see if we brought it back.
Right, I mean,
It
it's been
is-
there quite a while, and
been there for
I didn't
3
know if
years.
you needed to put anything in
We've just
here.
been trying to peck away on it as we can,
Yeah,
and we're hoping to have it up and running this summer.
oh, good,
It's just, as you know, there's been
Time.
budget cuts and
right.
lack of money, and we had
Yeah.
other things that we needed to
Well, I
take
just
care of.
didn't know if you needed to put something in for it.
No, I think we're all set. We
Oh, good.
should have it on the road this summer.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Yeah?
For the truck, not like a tiger truck.
I have a question.
Yes.
Linda Cook.
Yes, Linda?
I don't understand, under the road reconstruction, we paid like $19,000 to rent a skid steer and more than 22,000 for an excavator. Is there any plans to ever buy any of those pieces of equipment? Like put so much in a year and try to like buy it so that we're not spending that? And to me, those rentals they're under road reconstruction and not under rentals. I just don't understand what the rental line is for if it doesn't have the rental equipment in it. And we also are paying like $6,900 to rent a trailer to, it seems like that's in 1 year that we could buy a trailer, but pretty quick with that.
My feeling is on that, Linda, is that it's cheaper in the long run for us to rent that equipment. I do not think the highway department needs to buy any more equipment. And last year, we did use that stuff a lot because, as everybody knows, we had a lot of major washouts, and it was under the road construction. And when we get that equipment, we run it ourselves. We don't hire any other contractors. We do some of the stuff we do. And as far as a trailer, I don't think we can justify having that either. I really don't. That is just my own personal feeling on that. Okay?
I mean, how big is the trailer that you rent?
It's a 7-ton trailer. So we can move the small excavators and we can also move the skid steer. And when we have to move the big excavator, when we have a big excavator, we have a guy in town that will move with this truck and trailer very reasonable. We can't justify having that. buying a, you know, a 20-ton trailer to pull behind one of our trucks.
And in the actual expenditure of last year, you had 141,000 left over? Is that correct?
132.
The sheet that I have, it has from,
Yeah, it's 132,788, Linda. That's that.
okay, it's more updated than mine, but of that 132,000, what didn't you, like, I mean, was there a major thing that you didn't buy, or?
No, honestly, I was just trying to save money. Bottom line, I was just trying to save money last year and every year.
But I mean, you're still going up on the budget for this year. Do you think that you're gonna save that kind of money next year?
No,
Or this year?
I wish I could look into a globe and tell you that. I don't. I really, as far
I
as
just think
that.
that's a lot of money that was raised in taxes, you know, for these elderly people that, if you plan on saving even a half of it, that, you know, there's a way that it can be cut out of the budget for this year.
We had one storm, that we, how much money did we spend on the storm in May? About $100,000. So, I mean, hopefully we don't have another one of those storms this year, but pretty quickly you can spend that money in road construction.
Real quick. Very quick.
But I mean, we had extra, we had that much more.
But one of the things that happened, Linda, was that because of that storm in May that washed out, caused such big washouts and road instability, the road crew had to spend time and money fixing that unanticipated series of washouts. And so other projects that were scheduled for last year didn't get to get done. So if there had been enough time to do those washout repairs and the regularly scheduled, we would have been way over budget. But there wasn't time to start some of those bigger jobs after doing the washouts, so some of the money is left over because anticipated projects didn't get started.
And I also think the overall budget only went up 2%, and if you go down through, the only one that went up was the part-time help that I actually controlled.
Are there any other questions on the highway department's budget?
Roadside construction, reconstruction, is this one of the ones that the CIP line items recommended? And I see you've cut another 5,000 out of it.
I did because when the selectmen asked all of us to cut 5%, that was someplace where I cut 5,000 out of the original budget.
That's not a CIP line.
No, it's been taken out of the CIP.
Yeah.
John, when you started the CIP, there was a build-up in the CIP, but then 2 years ago, Richard pulled it out and put it into just a general line item.
Bridges are still in CIP. That's a separate one.
Thank you. Any other questions on the highway department's budget? Yep.
Richard, we don't have a capital reserve for road reconstruction, do we?
No.
Because the bridges we do.
We do.
But not for the road?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions?
I think there's somebody in the waiting room.
Thanks. Yeah, keep an eye on that, because
I'm going to move on to the street lighting budget. Let's see. Just one line.
yep, just one line.
So the 2024 proposed budget is $6,250, down 27%. Yes.
If in the Chikara Village, if the sensors got changed for, so they aren't on all the time, presumably it could go down further.
Are the lights on all the time?
Yes, virtually all the time.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yes, Becky?
According to the grant that they received to redo that whole Chicago project, I know Steve Gray spent months and years trying to get them dimmed.
And he put in a different bulb.
And he put in different bulbs, and he had to go through, I think, 15, 20 pieces of paper to even be able to dim those lights. Because it's part of the grant, no different than Richard can help me out here. You know those stairs are eventually gonna have to be replaced because they're part of the grant, even though they rotted away, we put dirt in it, but if they come back and say, your block grant says. So, yes, we'd like to save money with those lights, but the block grant will not allow them to be dimmed any farther than Steve Gray dimmed them in 2018.
But can they come on and off with the timely?
I think the way the block grant is, they only come on at night, they're not on during the day.
They are on the day.
They're on the day.
A lot of them are, not right now, all of them are.
Okay, we can.
Is there any other questions on the
Smart.
straight lights? Budget? Moving on to the, monitor, the test landfill budget. 2024 proposed budget is $12,500 with an 11% increase. Questions on that?
Is there a certain amount of years we have to do this for?
I thought we were.
Just monitoring our old landfill, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The standard is 30 years.
The standard is 30 years, Richard said?
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
So it's been 20?
But with PFPs, it'll probably be extended another 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as long as we don't get any positive hits, we'll be all right.
And we can petition to shorten it up if the results are really good, but I'm not sure if they're good enough to petition to shorten up the monitoring.
Thank you.
Moving on to the transfer station operations. The 2024 proposed budget is $355,612 with a 1% decrease. Questions on that budget? If there's no questions, I'm going to move on to the animal control. The 2024 proposed budget is $3,234, 12% overall decrease. Yes, Mel?
There's mileage. I'm stuck on this mileage thing.
But that's his job, and
He
that's.
has a vehicle.
It's not in the budget.
It's in,
Yes.
it is.
It's in the budget. Mileage.
Is that left over because before he was using his own car?
Shouldn't we get mileage?
Down 80%.
No, 'cause he's using the-
He's using the
he's using the
old.
old-
It's $100 mileage.
It's down 80%. Is there a reason that
It's there
we
at all?
left something in there, or that we budgeted for $100? Is there a chance that maybe the cruiser will break down? He has to use his own vehicle.
Right, in case he has to.
Yeah, I mean, that obviously is, yeah, I don't know, it might have just been a placeholder just in case we ran into issues.
Okay.
But, you know,
Okay.
ideally that line shouldn't get spent. But, you know, it does go in for repairs and calls still need to be made, and he only has access to that one vehicle.
Wasn't it, Chief, too, that if he was, because he has a part-time job, that if he had to respond from there, he'd be in his own vehicle?
If he responded from his own regular job or whatever in his own POV, you know, to deal with something, then there is that possibility, so.
Any other questions on that?
So just to throw this out there, the money the town keeps from the licensing of dogs is about $3,000, so it pretty much close covers that animal control officer, if that's all he's, in the realm of things.
I just have one question. The vehicle that he uses, the oldest cruiser, where is that kept? Does he have that at his house or where is it kept?
He does keep it at his house.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on the budget? I'm gonna move on to the health officer stipend. The total 2024 proposed budget is $986. That is an overall 3% decrease.
Who is the health officer now?
Louis Burnell.
Questions on that budget? I'm gonna move on to the general assistance budget. The 2024 proposed budget is $35,585. That is a 29% increase. I'll entertain some questions on that budget.
Why the jump in salary?
So many hours.
Other questions on that budget? I'm going to move on to the Parks and Recreation budget. Sorry, I gotta flip the page. The 2024 proposed budget is $139,142. That is a 25% increase over last year.
And we should just say too, though, that even though it's an increase over last year, you'll remember that we had a couple of years without fully functioning rec programs, and we had COVID, so this is more in keeping with pre-COVID numbers. So we're back to where rec was before COVID.
Yeah, a big piece of that too is the last rec director didn't have the health insurance that I have as a family, so that's a big part of it. Sorry, I have kids.
How many kids are enrolled in the park and rec programs on average?
On average, I have about 50 kids during the summertime for field trips. Swim lessons is about 80 kids. So far, soccer and basketball has been around 30. Trying to think of what else.
Well, you've got adults and pickleball.
Yeah, yeah,
The hike with friends, all kinds of programs.
yeah. Yeah, so a good amount of Tamworth kids.
Other questions on the Parks and Recreation?
Yes, this is Linda Cook.
Yes.
Are we gonna have a full-time summer program? It seems like it's fully funded here. Are we having a full-time summer program with our Parks and Recreation Director?
Not a full-time summer program. I'll be doing 2 weeks of full-time camp for kids. 1 week of 4th of July, no programming because I'm going to be running around like crazy getting ready for the parade and the festivities. The other 6 weeks of summer is going to be a
What does
combination.
our full-time person do for the rest of the summer then?
She was just finishing that.
Yeah, so for the 6 weeks that we're talking about, we'll be doing swim lessons for probably like 60% of the day. The other 40% will be mostly, I'm going to be doing sports activities with kids. And then there's a lot of back end work that, you guys don't really see, but a lot of paperwork, a lot of promoting, a lot of communication with parents, a lot of coordinating, so.
And there are also adult programs that rec runs.
Yep.
And Friday trips throughout the summer.
Yep. And a good portion of the summer is also preparing for the fall sports season, so.
Will you ever do a full-time summer program?
I
Do you ever
don't-
foresee that?
The budget would have to increase a lot.
Right, but I mean, the town, I think, would support it.
I don't know. That's a good question. There would really need to be a study done. There's an awesome day camp that's very affordable that I send my kids to, that already exists in town. It would really, the demand would have to be there,
It was before, that's what I'm saying.
It was before, but then that camp popped up in a time during
Well, during COVID,
COVID when we
the
all
town
needed
had
it.
nothing, but now we're back to a full-time rec.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions on the Parks and Recs budget?
Well, just a quick on health insurance. So you said your family, so I'm assuming the 30,000 is family for one employee?
Yeah.
One employee and their family, okay.
Yeah.
And you're a full-time employee, correct?
I'm a full-time employee.
I just have some questions then concerning revenue, on the revenue side then, shouldn't, because when you look at the program revenue and stuff, it doesn't equate really, the numbers. Are we still farming out the soccer, so he gets the soccer revenue versus you get, getting the rec department getting the soccer?
This year we partnered with Northern New Hampshire Soccer Club
Yeah,
to
we did
do
the year before.
a part. Yeah, 2 years ago we did the whole thing because we didn't have a rec director. This past fall he did a portion of it, so it was a reduced rate. I'm not. Depending on what I can find for soccer coaches this year, I'm not convinced we'll be partnering again.
Yes.
Just a quick question in general. What's the percentage breakdown between what employees pay versus what the town pays for health insurance?
90-10.
90-10?
Yeah.
So I did want to ask Becky for your question about revenues. Did I answer that? Because
Well, I'm wondering if you're gonna be generating more revenues, because with the numbers you gave, there is only a revenue generation of, I lost the page, because I don't do revenue. Like $7,000. You're doing 5 trips and swim lessons, and you had the 2 camps last year.
Yeah.
And you've got basketball.
Yeah.
They're all registering for those, so I just thought
Yeah.
the revenue that was reported was a little low.
yeah, I'm not sure. Did I give numbers on revenues? I'm not sure I did that. I'll have to double check that.
Because it said the most revenue you had,
On page 3 and 4.
Thank you, because I'm wondering where I am.
was 12,000 on Family Day. So if you look at the summer program, it says 510, and the swim program was 640. And there's nothing there for adult fees or the rec programs or.
We can look at the revenue.
Yeah,
That's
I'll
my
update
question.
that.
Are you
That's a
expecting
good
to get more
suggestion.
revenues? Yeah. I don't care for this year, but I mean.
Yeah, and also, as always, revenues are just an estimate. They don't really get solidified till you file in fall. So,
I mean, just from the numbers of kids she gave, you would have thought there'd be more
Yeah.
revenue
Yeah.
there. That's all.
we'll look at it.
Alright, thank you.
Any other questions on the Parks and Recreation budget? I'm going to move on to the swim program. The overall 2024 proposed budget.
Sorry, Emery.
Oh, no problem.
Hi. I just wanted to speak as far as rec goes and the program that's being offered. I mean, I think it's been a great service for our community, and the numbers of kids that Emily is getting to attend these programs shows how affordable it is, which I think speaks to, revenues is all well and good, but we're getting more kids to participate in programming than we have in the last few years that I know of. So I think outcome should be focus of a lot of the discussion, because we've had a lot of kids influenced by these programs. So just want to speak to that, and I think Emily's doing a great job.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you.
That's all. Sorry.
I'm now going to move on to the swim program. The 2024 proposed budget is $7,984. That's a 44% decrease.
I decided that I'm not paying to get instructors certified this year. That's why that decrease. That was the bulk of the budget last year for swim. It cost a lot of money, and I'm grateful that I have my 2 instructors and they plan on coming back, so it was a good investment. But I feel like I have enough time now to find instructors. We were in a pinch last year, if you can remember. But this year I've got time on my side. I've got 2 instructors who are also lifeguard certified, so can decrease that budget quite a bit. Yeah, so that's why the decrease.
So Emily, you're saying the ones that are staying with you are all certified and don't need to get recertified or anything?
Not until next year.
Not right.
Right,
correct.
okay, that's just wanna, thank you.
But
Renewing your certification
is
easier than.
But it's as costly as having your original certification.
Is it?
Yes.
The lifeguard certification is?
Both of them.
Wow. Oh, yeah.
Swim and lifeguard, both
Okay.
of them. It's like taking a class over again. It costs you the same amount.
Okay.
Any other questions on that budget? I'm going to move on to the patriotic purposes. The 2024 proposed budget is $18,600. That is a 6% increase. Questions on that budget? Not.
A chunk of that money is for the fireworks, is, how
Yep.
much was it that?
Gets paid. It gets, yeah, somebody donates a good chunk of money towards the.
Do you know how much?
I think it was 5
or 6,000.
5,000.
I thought it was more than that.
Chris donated 6.
That's the donation.
Donated 6,000 this year.
Yeah, but the cost is 15.
No.
Went up a lot.
May I ask John a question?
What?
May I ask John a question?
Yes.
On this? Well, because it's got the memorial flowers on there, and I thought last year at budget hearing, he said that the cemetery trustees had money in their budget for the flowers. I'm just asking for clarification.
And they're also perennials there now.
Yeah, we put perennials in. And I don't think we've paid for any flowers.
I know last year that question was asked, and I thought they said the cemetery trustees had money for those flowers, and we took it out.
Because the flowers that because
we took it out last year.
They're annuals for the Memorial Day and for Veterans Day that go in those little planters that are built into the ground. So there is the perennial garden there, but these are more for the ceremonies. But I don't remember the taking it out part.
Well, either we didn't spend it, or we took it out, because it's not in the 2023 budget, and there was nothing expended on the audit.
So then
It
we
was
must
on-
have taken it out.
Yeah, I was looking at the wrong line.
I don't know what line, did that get just reimbursed out of, I mean.
Would we like to take the $200 out for the
well,
flowers this year?
wait, just a second.
Some of them were for the wreaths, weren't they?
So the Veterans Day event was the wreaths and,
Yeah, I have no problem with the Veterans
No.
Day, it's just the flower, because that's the next line. It's
no, but the
Veterans Day.
memorial flowers are the flowers for the Veterans Memorial. So we got flowers for Veterans Day and for Memorial Day, and I don't know where they got taken out of. Maybe they just got taken out of Veterans Day event, because it's not that much of an expense. It's the wreath and flowers twice a year, and other parts were donated. So I don't remember what the wreath cost. Do you think you have money, John, for flowers for the Veterans
Well,
Memorial?
For the Veterans Day event, you had 200 budgeted, you only spent 100. So you got another 200 budgeted for this year.
We spent more than 100, so I don't know where it came from.
Maybe just take it out as flowers and just add it in as Veterans Day events or something, so.
Just get rid of them. Why put it in if you're not gonna spend it?
Well, I'm saying we did spend it, so I don't know why. I'm looking at the actuals, and I'm saying that we submitted more receipts than that.
Maybe it got put up in, we'd have to check with Elaine, but it might be up in patriotic expenses, I don't know.
Okay.
Seems,
I think between Memorial Day and Veterans Day, if it were $300, that seems like it would cover. I'm trying to remember what the receipts were, but I don't know off the top of my head.
So do we want to do anything with that, or are we going to leave it alone?
just leave it alone.
I'd like it if you kept it, but for being responsible for that budget. I plan on being more involved with those events in the future anyway, so.
Okay. And we have a committee, a Veterans Memorial, a Veterans Committee that's gonna be active. They've got some great ideas, so I'd leave it.
Any other questions on the patriotic purposes budget?
We're leaving it as is.
We're gonna leave it as
You can
is.
leave it.
Not hearing any more questions, I'm going to move on to the library budget. The 2024 proposed budget is $251,191. That is an 8% decrease. Questions?
That is what Cook requested.
Mary's right here, John, too, with her budget.
I'm gonna pass out the library budget sheet, because this is a little more reflective of what, I think you guys already have it. Of how the library budget works. The library trustees are, responsible for donations and other monies that come to the library that aren't raised through taxes, so it can be a little hard to figure out from a single line what actually is going on. So that's why we do this over here.
Do we have any questions on the library budget, proposed budget? If there are no questions, I'm gonna move on to the Conservation Commission. The 2024 proposed budget is $6,198. That is a 1% increase. Yes.
Under sponsorship, I know that's always been for summer camps, usually going to Tin Mountain, but from reading the minutes, it went to another camp that the town already sponsors. You know, kids from a petition warrant article. Do we really need the 800 to go to that? They will always say that they have a hard time finding kids where we're already giving money with a petition warrant article. Do we have to give more?
I know that some kids did get, I don't know the breakdown, but kids did get sponsorships, camperships for Tin Mountain as well. I don't know what the breakdown is without, I don't know what the breakdown is.
It's Denver, this was it Tin Mountain? $200 went to Tin Mountain. That's my question. And then
What line is that?
Conservation. She's
Yeah, but-
asking.
561.
Okay.
Like the pre-audit actuals was 575.
So she's saying it's $800, and part of that goes to Fair Camp Center, which is already asking for $100, so she doesn't think it's Fair Camp Center. And she asked the taxpayers for money.
Oh, I see.
And 200 of that went to Tin Mountain.
Yeah, but last year it was, so is it the same? No,
No,
it's
they
an increase
increased
over
it.
last year.
Of 113%.
Yeah. Does anybody have a good answer for that?
It's
I
Nelson's
don't-
budget.
Yeah.
Don't know the answer to that. I think if he was gonna increase it by that much, he probably had a purpose.
It can be decreased at town meeting.
What's that?
It can be decreased at town meeting since nobody from conservation is here.
Right.
Yeah.
So last year it was
Last year it was 375.
375.
575.
Okay,
Overspent it. But only 200 went to Tin Mountain.
I see, okay. All right.
And they've increased it to 800, which is quite the drastic jump from previous years.
And I know in the past, they've had a hard time finding kids to go.
Could the price go up anyway, as well as, there's not, the price per kid now is higher? Is that why you might have increased that?
I'm assuming it reflects interest, because I know they have a lot of interest. So I'm assuming it reflects applications that they received.
Are there any other questions on the Conservation Commission budget? Hearing no questions, I'm going to, move on to the land use.
There's
No.
nothing in there.
Sorry.
No debt service.
Debt service.
More outside agencies.
So it's debt service. We're under debt service. Yep. I'm gonna move on to the debt service.
Well, there is none.
Oh, there's none.
So can I ask that land use change tax, I thought they got 7,500 a year from the Conservation Commission, I'm sorry.
You mean
Received
as revenue?
7,500 a
Land use
year?
change, yeah.
You
From
mean
the land
as
use
taxes?
change. Taxes?
Yeah, they do.
Okay,
But
so
that
where,
comes- but
where would
that
that
shows
be?
up in the revenue section.
Oh, yeah, right, thank you, okay.
Go ahead.
Moving on to the outside agencies.
Did that question get answered?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Moving on to the outside agencies, the total,
Yeah.
what's that? To-
Do the total first, sorry.
The total for the 2024 proposed budget is $179,541 with a 5% overall increase.
Cass is getting pulled out because they didn't get their signatures in.
So CASA is getting pulled out because they did not get their signatures in, so that'll be minus $750.
Anyone else?
Sorry?
Is that it?
Yeah.
Questions on that budget?
Why do we donate when individuals can personally donate?
There's a different answer for
There. Yes.
I have a thought about that, and it is simply, that it is very, very beneficial for the town to show support for its less fortunate citizens, as well as individuals who are able to do that. But it's like, charity begins at home. We try to help our fellow citizens. And it means a lot to a small nonprofit to have support from the town as well as from individual citizens. That's my thought.
And I understand that. So we have people who are in need who are being taxed, and then on the back end, they're getting benefit. So why tax them?
Welcome to America.
Well, my
I mean,
point
it's-
is the
it's a
number
real
keeps
thing.
going up and up and up and
Yeah.
up. And at some point, we're talking real dollars here.
And these are petition warrant articles, so you can vote at town meeting not to allot that money. But they are petition warrant articles and we have to put them on our warrant.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sorry.
The Bear Camp Valley School doesn't have anything?
They didn't put anything in it?
No.
They did not.
They didn't, wow.
Yeah, we double checked with them and they said no.
Any other questions on that budget? Moving on to the capital improvements.
Okay, this is the,
Yep, the 2024 proposed budget is $960,662 with a 1% increase. Questions? Yes, Becky.
It's not a question, but I'm going back to this transfer station because Keith knows too, it's a bugaboo of an article. We had it accepted one way, it got switched around by DRA. I would really like to ask the selectmen, I know your warrant is going to be voted on tonight, but maybe you could do it and then hold another meeting to vote your warrant, to rescind the third year of the warrant article that was passed in 2022, which was a multi-year warrant article to raise a certain amount of money for the transfer station, $274,000 and change every year for 3 years. That money, what most people thought that voted was going into a capital reserve fund. The reason being is, I don't know about most people, but I knew sitting at that meeting that there was no way a brand new transfer station was going to be completed in 3 years. So the money would be sitting in the capital reserve to continue. If it's not used, not contracted for by the end of this year, that money all goes back in the general fund. You can't encumber it to put it in the capital reserve. And the discussion at the meeting that we approved that 3-year was that in the event that the transfer station didn't phase out, whatever, took longer, we still had money in the transfer station capital reserve to repair whatever needed to be done at our present one. I'd like to see that rescinded, and I know Keith might like this, to write a simple warrant article that the town votes to approve $274,224 to come from taxation, $50 to come from the undesignated fund balance, to be put in the transfer station capital reserve. No 3 years, no nothing, and then if no matter what, you still have that money in, it will be collecting interest. And if the transfer station doesn't go through, you're one step ahead to do whatever modifications you have to do at the present transfer station. Because that, the way DRA worded that, it's only good for 3 years. And think of all the interest we lost on $500,000 sitting in a capital reserve for 2 years that we didn't get any additional money for. Because it's been in this special account, because DRA changed their mind on how it was presented. I really hate to see $800,000, I know, what, $150,000 something has been spent, get put back into the coffers of the undesignated fund balance when stuff is still gonna have to be done at the transfer station for years to come. And you can't encumber, you can't say at the end of next year, we'd like to encumber $625,000 to put it in the capital reserve, because you can't do that, because you have to have contracts to encumber. Just a thought. I should have thought about it a year ago when DRA changed their mind, but if we raised it each individually, rescinded that article and raised it each year, you could have put it in the capital reserve. And it would have been sitting there for use. But since this is the last year, rather than you play this game and then come to the end of 2024, we'll have $99,000 in a capital reserve and we raised $800,000 for the transfer station. If it takes longer than this year. Just a thought. You don't have to address it tonight, but that's my thought.
Any opinions from the board?
I mean, first I've heard about doing anything like that, but we're certainly going to need the money this year. We have plans to spend it regardless if we have a full build out or other options with the transfer station. But I don't know.
But you have over $500,000 that you can spend this year, and I hope you spend it, because otherwise it goes back into the coffers and eventually we'll offset taxes.
Yep.
I can't see the board saying, oh, well, since we've got $480,000 back from the transfer station, we're gonna offset taxes by $480,000, but you could.
Yeah, I mean, on its surface, it sounds good to me.
I didn't think of it.
That's my question: is what the downside is.
Well, it's either that or it can be cut at town meeting and just say we're taking that out because nothing's moved forward on, other than architectural plans on the transfer station. And then raise it again next year to have it,
We have plans in motion that we would need it for this year if they come to fruition.
where you have the USDA grant too.
We have that as well.
I'm not sure how we rescind a prior article that was voted at town meeting without a new article, which.
Well,
is
that's what I'm
nothing
saying, write a new article to rescind that one and then write the new article that the money gets put in the capital reserve. Clean.
Like it was
Like
first.
you do every year for a fire truck, we're putting $250,000 in for a fire truck.
Yeah. I think the challenge right now, the reason
something to think about.
the reason I'm not comfortable doing that tonight is because we've been getting updates from the Transfer Station Improvement Committee at pretty much every select board meeting. And there's like real motion afoot, looking at another site that would be more turnkey, more room for expansion, would give the town revenue because we could sell the existing property. It's got all kinds of things going for it.
I know.
And I don't know, like I don't know what the timeline is, but my impression is that the money would be spent this year so that there's not a chance to lose it. And without having like a detailed update right now, I think it's like, I think it's
just a thought.
Yeah.
But I know, I'm well aware, I read all the minutes that get put up and stuff,
Yeah.
and I ran this by somebody on the committee today, and
Yeah.
it's just that we should have done this a year ago, we should have
Right.
thought about it a year ago and rescinded the thing so we got the money where it
Right.
belonged. I just hate to see another $274,000 raised and end up,
Sitting.
something falls through
Yeah.
and then it goes nowhere.
Yeah.
Is there any in the capital reserve?
99,000 and something that was originally
And
put
by
in
the
there.
way, just, it's a minor point, but all of the money that are in the general fund are earning 4.96%
Okay,
interest.
well, thank
So
you for that.
that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Will the town be able to vote on what's going to happen with the transfer station? Or is that just the selectmen are gonna decide and?
Based off what we're planning on doing, if the plans go through, yes, there'll be a town meeting.
Special meeting for it?
I believe so.
I've been hearing big numbers. Awfully big numbers.
Are there any other questions with the, yep,
Following up on what Peter said, if you're going to possibly hold a special town meeting, where are you grabbing the funds out of to hold it? Because special town meetings aren't cheap.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know if it
we're
has to be a
required to
town
hold
meeting or a
special-
hearing.
Or a public hearing.
You might
Yes.
need a public hearing.
Yeah, it might be a public hearing,
Okay,
that's right.
all right, that's because, no offense, special town
Yeah.
meetings aren't cheap.
Yeah.
That was just a thought.
is there any other questions on that budget?
Is there a way to get what's been encumbered? I'm gonna bring
Yeah.
up the windows, the Moose Plate Grant windows. When you held your encumbrance meeting, that money wasn't mentioned.
The windows,
The replacement
Moose
of
Grant.
windows at the
because the
town.
Moose Grant didn't need to be encumbered, the Moose Grant was coming this year.
Okay, that's what
Yeah.
I wanted to know, so
Yeah.
that wasn't part of it, but what has been encumbered under the undesignated fund balance, because you,
What's been encumbered is road materials for 15,000, equipment rental plowing for 6, equipment repair for 5,000, build-out analysis for 18,745, and buses for the summer programming, 10,500.
thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.
Any other questions?
I just have some questions on some expenditures on the vendors list.
On the what list?
Are we on the
vendors list?
capital improvement budget?
Well, no, I thought, okay, sorry, I'll wait until the end.
Almost done.
Jesus.
We were on capital
Capital
improvements.
improvements, it's this right there.
Yep.
Just finishing that.
Any other questions on capital improvements? Hearing no more questions, I'm going to move on to voted fund balance. The 2024 proposed budget is $65,125, which is down 65% overall. Questions?
What is the retirement obligations?
So long-term employees build up accumulated vacation days, and if they were to retire on a particular date, the town is obligated to write them a check for their remaining vacation days and sick days. And so if you had more than 1 or 2 employees retire in the same year, you'd have a pretty significant chunk of money you'd have to write a check for. So this is, the money goes in, it stays there till you need it. You don't have to raise it each year, because you don't know when people are gonna retire.
Any other questions?
Yeah, how much time can employees build up?
Currently, there's no cap on the current policy.
That changes in March.
That what?
That changes in March with the new personnel policy for most employees.
Good. I assume it gets limited.
Yeah.
Any other questions on that? I'm going to move on to capital reserve appropriation. The overall 2024 proposed budget is $187,500. That is down 42%.
It's the,
That is for the fire truck. Questions? Not hearing any questions. I'm gonna move on to the voted from program revenue. So this
Sewer
is
commission.
the sewer commission. The 2024 proposed budget is $26,000. That is down 32%.
and that comes
That-
entirely from
Yeah.
fees,
That comes from
not tax.
And you really don't have anything you can say against,
No.
for or against. I'm going to the sewer commission because I'm surprised they dropped it that much. Because part of the block grant was that you had to show proof that you were gaining every year towards the estimated $1.3 million that it
To
took to
replace
repair
it.
it the first time. And that's why people were building it up so that there was 10,000 every year budgeted.
So,
Plus, if you had any left
and
over,
that's
you
it,
put in.
that's the bottom line.
So I'm going to go to the
5.216.
sewer commission
138.
and ask how they
Now,
dropped
it's a new
that,
number.
because That's scary.
Yeah.
There's another-
I don't know that answer.
I mean, those, we can go through those. Those are total other non-tax sources. It's really, those are all in the warrant, so we can talk through them.
So other expenses, if we have any questions on those, that would be,
We've covered total expenses.
yeah.
And with the few cuts that were made, we're now at $5,216,138.
Can you say that number again?
Sorry.
$5,216,138.
Any questions? Not hearing any more questions. Motion to close the public hearing?
Not yet.
No?
Nope.
I don't think so.
And also, we have to accept the budget
Oh,
as
yeah.
amended
Okay.
before that. But I think there's some other questions.
Yes? Becky?
Well, because you were closing it, it just went on my head. It was something on the overall budget. Oh, the 3% overall employee pay increase. Is that starting retroactive back to January, or is it starting in March?
It starts in March, I believe. That's the way the town's usually done it. No?
I think it's
Done
always
it
been
both
April
ways.
1st.
Oh,
April 1st.
April 1st?
So it's gonna be April. Well, I hadn't heard a vote.
The first pay
It's
period
been
in
both,
April.
it's been done both ways.
Okay,
Some
last
years
year it
early.
was
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I just have a question, I don't know if this is the right place to ask it, but going through the vendors list, there are a couple of payments that they're big, and I couldn't really find them in a line item budget, so can I send those to you?
Sure.
To just get the questions clarified? Because they're IRS and tax payments, which didn't make any sense to me.
That's an Elaine question for
Okay,
sure.
thank you.
But we can, yeah, send me the questions.
Are there any other questions? So now I can make the motion to approve the budget.
To accept budget as amended.
I make a motion to accept the budget as amended.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Barry, yes?
Schaefer, yes?
Prentice, yes.
Does Richard vote?
Yeah.
Richard?
Richard, yes.
Roberts, yes. 5 yes, 0 no. Now can I close that?
And then we have a bunch of other stuff to do.
It's so nerve-wracking.
That's okay.
Yeah, good job.
What?
I think this your warrant's part of your budget.
Right.
From the hearing?
Okay, yeah.
Do you have to approve the warrant in the budget hearing? Because last year we did it.
I know, I'm not going.
I don't care, I'll do it in the budget hearing, doesn't make any
Okay, so
difference to
don't
me.
close it.
I'm not closing it yet, we can stay open all night.
I mean, we did ours at the second budget hearing,
Right.
not our first one.
Once the numbers changed.
Because the numbers changed in your warrant, it's just subtracting things in and out.
That was
Oh, yeah.
That was the thing that was.
So we're gonna go through the whole thing, ask if there are any questions on any one, and then once the hearing's closed, we'll go back and do our vote. Because that's not public. I mean, it's public. This is
Wait, what are you suggesting? So,
Last year, we went through each article.
yeah, approved it or didn't approve? You're making recommendations or not making recommendations? What?
We didn't do the select board vote until after. We went through it twice.
Yeah.
Because, yes, your numbers have changed in here. due to
Right,
changes
so we
in the
went
budget.
through the
Right.
warrant, and then once the warrant was there, public could comment on it, we stopped that, and then we went through it again and did select board votes. I'm just talking about process for the next bit.
Okay, are you suggesting that that's a separate meeting or doing it
No,
tonight?
you
Yeah.
do it tonight,
Okay.
but, because we said we're gonna do it tonight, I'm just saying we're not doing it as we're talking with the public about it. We have public input,
And what she's
public
saying
comment.
is it part of the public hearing or is it not part of the public hearing for the vote? Because you voted on your budget in public hearing.
I'm saying we're gonna vote on it tonight, but what we did last year was we went through the whole thing, and then people made their comments and corrections. And then we went through with just the board making our recommendations, yes or no.
So you're saying go through it, make the fixes.
Get all the
And then do
tweaking.
the votes.
And then we go through it,
Okay.
so because then we had the whole picture of
Yep.
the
And there's
entire thing
only-
before we went back and looked.
Okay. All right, so.
That's how I remember it,
Yeah, I almost thought we voted
at another meeting.
at another meeting.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we didn't go.
I mean, just that. our
This
next
isn't.
select
Right,
board
I
meeting.
know you voted at another meeting, what I'm saying is, I don't know if the warrant is supposed to be part of the public
Public
hearing,
hearing.
because we always held multiple public hearings, so therefore,
It was
the
clean.
warrant was
So we
already
can
changed.
just do it right now.
You guys can do it however you want,
Yeah.
you can do it now,
Yeah.
as long as your numbers
And
get
the warrant's not
changed.
Right.
posted, so it's
Right.
fine.
Yep, okay.
Okay.
So are we going through to support or not support? Is that what we're doing?
No,
No,
No.
we're gonna
not
just
yet.
go through the whole thing first.
And note the
And
changes.
make the changes.
So, okay, so the first change is,
Where do you want to start? Right at the beginning?
there was mileage taken out, added to the compliance agent's budget.
So compliance is 13,937 plus 500.
Plus 500, yeah.
That's Article 6.
So now it's $14,437.
14,437.
Yep.
Can you say that again, please?
The compliance agent's budget is $14,437. And that may not have gotten in the total of the budget. Might have to adjust that, but let's see.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because yeah. So then mileage was taken out of the Energy Committee, and that was negative 140.
What article is that
It's still under Article 6.
General government.
Oh,
So what's 19,915 minus?
Oh, you want the total?
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. Where'd it go? That is now 775. Okay.
Thank you.
the flex spending accounts that you needed to take out?
Sorry?
The flex spending accounts that you needed to adjust?
Okay,
Yes,
let me,
you caught the other one.
hang on. Okay, so the first responder stipend is negative $372.
Where's that?
Emergency management. Article
Line 525, which is, I don't know what page it is.
Yeah, but what
It's
article are we
Article
on?
8.
Thank you.
Oh, safety, yeah. And so that's now 14,788.
Which line is that? That's 14,788, the emergency management?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Then we took out $750 from the petition articles for CASA. So those are all separate articles, so
So that's 31.
yeah, it just comes out. And then, no, one's not separate. We did not make any other changes. Now the question is, does the select board want me to delete out the HRA, FSA numbers that I should have deleted out before?
The what?
Their health benefit
That were in
stipends.
each department.
Oh,
She
okay.
combined them into one, but they're still
But
on.
then neglected to take them out of all of them. I took them out of some.
So
apologize
tax
for that.
collector is 2,000.
We might as well take
Yeah,
them out.
take them out.
Okay,
So let's,
Yeah, I wanna make sure we cover that.
I know,
Yeah.
I'm a little
Yeah.
uncomfortable doing
Yeah.
that in this way.
Yeah,
Um,
because that's our reimbursement account that
Right.
we get as a benefit, so.
But that's the question, how do you know whether it's in the 7,000 or it isn't, and vote on it tonight?
well,
She does, yeah, she does.
it's how much per person?
it's basically 1,000 per
1,000 per
person,
person.
and I had counted 7 full-time people who received those, so I had 7,000 in my budget. But fire wouldn't be a part of that. And I don't know, Kim, if I was counting yours or not, because you're always like this separate unit.
Right.
So I would rather not touch Kim's budget.
Yeah.
It's too important to do it. So I would say the 7 full-time people are in my budget, Kim's are there, fire stays, and I'll look and see if it's anybody else's.
It's not in police.
No,
And
it's
it's
in
not in-
government, it's in government buildings.
It's not in highway either.
We can take it out of government buildings.
And it's not in transfer.
$500 in government buildings. So under Article 6, Leanne,
And
hang on, let me just get this number.
And it's not in Parks and Rec, yeah?
So government buildings is now 500 less, it's 134, 526.
134,
526.
526.
Okay.
So that,
Police is okay.
so the flex,
Fire, I don't,
it's not in police, it's not in transfer, and it's not in road.
okay.
Is there anywhere else it would be?
No.
Okay. Oh, and it's not in rec.
Okay. Okay, so it was 500 that I missed in buildings.
Okay.
Okay, so,
Cause we're gonna leave Kim's.
But you would know by town meeting whether Kim's is in there or not.
yeah, Kim and I can check.
Yeah, that would be, I would feel better that way, especially when we combine things and I'm going full-time with it, full-time deputies. Just
Okay.
to make sure I'm covered by
Okay.
full-time position.
Yep. Okay, so, a couple things. One is, since we just took 500 out, anyway, we have a new bottom line number.
Right.
So we should, I guess, motion to accept the budget as amended again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
With a new number. And then we can go through the warrant, right?
Yeah, so what's the new number?
$5,216,138.
No, you just took out another 500. That's,
It didn't change?
no, that's the one you told us before.
Well, that's because you had said with the few cuts that we already made, which you already had, this was the number, the budget that was accepted.
Yeah, but they just cut out.
Well, then we just took
500.
I took
500
an
out.
extra 500 out, so I just need to.
My calculation was $5,215,638. See if it comes up with that, subtracting
More
$500.
than we had before.
No, it's not.
No,
It was
it's not.
5216 before.
Oh,
216, 138. Becky, what do you have?
I figured it out, I believe, as $5,215,638.
That's $500. Yep, that's the difference. 5,215,638.
630.
What was the 500?
It was in town
Building.
buildings.
Flex spending got left in there by mistake.
But was that already in your, what we had budgeted for in the town administrator?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying,
And it's
so like, okay,
It
never
was
mind.
an extra
good.
five.
I'm
We're
confusing
good.
things
Yeah,
again.
we're good.
Okay.
Also
Okay.
plan motion? Do you want another motion?
Yeah, it's gonna have to be that.
Make motion to,
Rescind the other approval, I guess.
I make a motion to rescind the initial approval of the budget as amended.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Here, yes.
Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
Roberts, yes.
You said yes?
5 yes, 0 no. I make a motion to approve the budget as amended in the amount of $5,215,638.
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none. Roll call vote.
Barry, yes.
Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
You say yes?
Roberts, yes. 5 yes, 0 no. Where were we?
Okay, so now, you've noted on the warrant all
Yeah.
the changes, right?
Yeah.
Leanne?
Yep.
Okay. Then I can make those adjustments on the document and in the DRA.
So can we
So we're coming out of the.
approve or disapprove?
No, you might as well
Oh,
stay in the budget hearing just in case you're required legally to approve the warrants in the budget hearing. I don't know actually what the law is,
Okay.
Well,
We're going with that.
so might as well do it in
So
the
do I
hearing.
need to, I start right at the beginning and
Town
read through them?
maintenance.
The warrants.
Every one of them, you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, right.
So I should just start.
I think you read them, again,
Becky's got a
Oh.
question. So did you take it out of the warrant article, Bill?
yeah.
Yes.
we just noted it and,
Yeah.
yeah. And we will,
So
Under
the,
town,
so the,
Town government buildings is now 134,526.
that means that's the one I didn't hear, 134,
526.
thank you.
Yep.
I'm just gonna start right with
the issue
Article
will be getting you all to sign the newly printed one.
oh, yeah. to not
So
send
we
it.
may have to meet again tomorrow night to get the signatures. Because I need it to go to print.
Yeah.
Thursday's a good
That doesn't
day.
mean we can't,
Just for signatures.
yeah, I mean, we could wait and approve that all tomorrow night at 5 o'clock in this room.
I think if we can avoid doing that, I mean, Bruno's point is a good one, that it's the school meeting tomorrow. So if
Fine, that's fine, we could just sign, you can have a meeting and sign it then.
only for signing, like approve it tonight and then have a signing meeting, yeah.
It's your call.
I think we should do that.
So we're gonna go through this.
I
Starting
think
with
go,
Article
go
1.
through it
I
tonight.
think you
so-
have to be part of the budget, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean,
And then, yeah, and then
if you've
tomorrow
got
night we'll just have a
another
meeting.
night for it to sign it tomorrow. That's, remember at the last meeting, we were talking about why were there 2 meetings? This is it. Because the changes get made at the budget hearing, so then when you go back to the office, make the changes, you guys are all set to sign a clean document.
Right.
That's why the second meeting.
Is necessary.
Right.
But last year we had more time and we signed, didn't we signed it at our regular board meeting? We didn't have a.
It was already
we didn't have it-
adjusted.
Right.
And, right.
We can, so that's our plan this year.
Yeah,
I
basically.
mean, it's not gonna be a public hearing tomorrow, it's gonna be a public meeting, but it's just our
But you've got a
select
public
board.
hearing scheduled.
We have a public hearing scheduled, so
Oh,
it could just
we
be
could
part
call
of
it
it,
that.
it's fine.
Call it that.
So just recess the public hearing.
Right,
Right.
recess this public hearing till tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do anything.
Yep.
You'll have a clean copy with all your numbers to make sure they're correct.
Yeah,
Are we going through this?
Again, the only problem is,
but we should go through it tonight.
We can
no,
go-
we're going through it tonight. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, still, the only problem is that we've got the school meeting tomorrow at the
Oh,
same
well.
time.
At 5 o'clock?
Not
That's
at
at
5.
They're at,
It's 7.
That's a
oh, they're
second.
at 7? Great.
We got all
Okay.
kinds of time.
So, we can,
Perfect.
so, do we still wanna go through it all?
Yeah, let's get
And then we
all of
sign
it
it
done
tomorrow
tonight.
night?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Good plan. Okay, I know what my day is tomorrow.
So, so all we're doing is going,
So I'm just gonna start with Article 1.
Yep,
Well, you could start with, yeah, Article 2.
Article 2, actually.
Oh, okay.
Candace's Article 1.
Article 2 on the town warrant. To see if the town will vote to adopt RSA 31:39-C, allowing for the administrative enforcement of ordinances and regulations adopted by the legislative body to be used prior to the service of formal summons and complaint. This will allow the town of Tamworth to utilize the informational enforcement provisions in administrating its ordinances and regulations. This will allow for the issuance of letters prior to more formal legal proceedings. Majority vote required. Select board recommended this article. Okay, so now we make the
So you, I guess, motion to recommend the article.
make a motion to recommend Article 2. as-
wait,
What?
so we're doing the votes now?
Yeah.
Okay,
Isn't that what? you-
yep,
Yeah,
yep,
we just
yep,
we said we wanted to get it all done.
yep.
No, we're-
Roll call vote.
Did you do it, did it get seconded?
No,
No.
not good.
Oh, second.
Any
Good job,
discussion? Roll call vote.
Barry, yes.
Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
Roberts, yes.
Doucette?
You said yes.
The select board recommends this article, 5 yes, 0 no. Article 3, to see if the town will vote pursuant to RSA 41:9-A to authorize the select board to establish and amend fees for licenses, permits, and facilities established by vote of the town. Prior to establishment or amendment of such fees, the select board shall hold a public hearing as required in RSA 41:9-A. Roll call vote. Emery. Motion to,
Would it be helpful, do you want me to read so you can listen?
motion to approve Article 3.
So moved.
Discussion.
Second.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Barry, yes.
Schaefer, yes.
We done.
This is just a vote.
To
Where are we? Bear, yes?
Ben Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
Roberts, yes.
Doucette, yes.
Do you want me
So-
to read so you can listen?
Yeah, sure,
Yeah.
if you want to, go for it.
Or just then you can listen and hear what it is.
So, the select board recommends Article 3, 5 yes, and 0 no.
Okay. Article 4, to see if the town will vote to authorize the select board to conduct a lease revision for the existing lease, which expires on February 28th, 2102, between the town and Tamworth Community Nurse Association governing TCNE's use of office and storage space in the town office building on such terms and conditions as the selectmen shall deem to be in the best interest of the town.
So moved.
No.
Second.
No, so what we gotta, I should really motion to recommend the article.
Okay,
Oh,
does the
okay.
select,
Right,
All
you're
right.
not voting to approve,
Yes.
you're voting to recommend.
Okay.
So I make a motion to recommend Article 4, right?
Yeah. Second.
Roll call vote.
Bear, yes.
Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
Doucette, yes.
Roberts, yes. The select board recommends Article 4, 5 yes, 0 no.
Okay, Article 5, to see if the town will vote to adopt the Tamworth Community Power Plan to authorize the Tamworth Select Board to implement the plan and to take all action in furtherance thereof pursuant to RSA 53-E. The Tamworth Community Power Plan is an opt-out program that offers more flexible electricity procurement. The plan will initially provide lower electricity rates for residents or it will not launch. Initial participation in the plan can be declined, after which enrollment becomes voluntary. Majority vote required. Somebody want a motion to?
I motion to recommend Article
5.
5.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Bear, yes.
Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
Roberts, yes.
Doucette, yes.
The select board recommends Article 5, 5 yes, 0 no.
You know what, I don't have the did you do the math on this?
Well, that's what I said, where's the numbers?
I've got I took all the reductions, but I didn't do the,
So subtract it out from the 1177.
hang on, 117592 minus 140 plus 500 equals. Shoot, what was the government building? 500?
But that's it.
Okay. The way I've got it written down here, that's gonna be. Compliance adds 500, government buildings takes out 500,
And then there was a negative.
and then the negative 140, so there's a wash and then minus 140. Is that right?
So it's 452, 1177452.
Yeah.
Can you say that again?
1177452.
Okay. Article 6, and I have to read all the numbers, right? To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,177,452 for general government operations, with $50,000 to come from the unassigned fund balance to offset the capital project, parentheses, transfer station previously approved. Select Board, $23,951. Town Administration, $221,835. Town Clerk Tax Collector, $210,086. Election and Registration, $10,398. Treasurer's Expense, $7,914. Data Processing, $56,774. Reevaluation of Property, $68,700. Legal Expenses, $35,000. Personnel Administration, $1,122. Planning, $12,396. Compliance,
14,437.
$14,437. Energy Committee,
775.
$775. Zoning, $1,761. Town Government Buildings,
134,526.
thank you. Townhouse, $11,960. Cemeteries, $32,610. Property Liability Insurance, $58,747. Capital Project Transfer Station, $274,460. Majority vote required.
I make a motion to recommend Article 6.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Barry, yes.
Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
You say yes.
Roberts, yes. The select board recommends Article 6, 5 yes, 0 no.
Article 7, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $14,400 for the insulation and air exchange system in the town offices. The select board, okay, you go.
I make a motion to recommend Article 7.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Barry, yes.
Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
Roberts, yes. The select board recommends,
You gotta do seven.
I heard him say it, but
Oh, did he say it?
That's faint.
Okay.
would you like to say it again?
You said yes.
Thank you.
Point of order here, as this is just voting on a recommendation, is there any need to read every figure? And I would suggest you just read the changed ones.
That's fine with me. Is that
Love that.
acceptable?
Yeah, if you're gonna verify it tomorrow and sign it with the new
Sure,
numbers.
great.
Yep.
Okay, I won't read every number.
Because you're only recommending the articles tonight.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm reading the article and the total amount of money and only if there's changes. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. Article
Wait,
8.
so,
Change that number.
Well,
Select-
the next
what
one.
one were we on? Article 7?
Yep.
Recommend, the select board,
Article 8.
Well,
We've
he was
moved on.
closing out 7.
the select board recommends Article 7, 5 yes,
Oh, I thought
0
you
no.
were doing that.
Okay. Article 8, to see if the town will vote and raise appropriate the sum of $992,722.
No.
What's the change?
The 14,788 in emergency management.
Yeah, so
We take out over there.
what did we take out?
Hang on.
370.
372?
Emergency management.
Okay, so 99273 minus
First responder stipend.
992351.
992,351.
351.
And what,
Sorry?
992,351.
and
Yep.
what's the emergency management number?
14,788.
Thank you. Okay. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $992,351 for public safety, with a change to the emergency management line, which is now $14,788.
I make a motion to recommend Article 8 as amended.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Barry, yes.
Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
You said yes.
Roberts, yes. The select board recommends Article 8, 5 yes, 0 no.
Article 9, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $187,500 to be added to the fire truck capital reserve fund previously established. Majority vote required.
I make a motion to recommend Article 9. Roll call vote.
Wait, second.
Oh, sorry. Roll call vote.
Barry, yes.
Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
You said yes.
Roberts, yes. The select board recommends Article 9, 5 yes, 0 no.
Okay, so wait, we don't have to read them anymore, I thought, unless there were changes. I thought that's what John was saying.
No, you don't have to read the figures.
Oh,
All
just
the
the
figures.
figures.
You still
I
need to
see,
read
I
the-
see.
yeah.
Sorry.
Article 10, to see if the town will authorize the Fire Rescue Department to participate in a regional grant with Sandwich Fire Rescue Department for the purpose of replacing Fire Rescue Department portable radios, and to raise and appropriate the sum of $257,302 to purchase Fire Rescue Department portable radios for, this is redundant, Tamworth Fire Rescue Department and Sandwich Fire Department, with $245,048 to come from the Assistance to Firefighters Grant, $3,868 to come from the town of Sandwich, and the remaining $8,386 to come from taxation. If the grant is not received, this article will be null and void. Majority vote required.
I'll entertain a question, Becky, if you had one.
I just wondered where it was in the budget.
Article 10.
No, I know where it is in the warrant, I wondered where it was.
It's in, capital, the capital one.
Okay, thank you.
I make a motion to recommend Article 10.
Second.
Roll call vote.
There, yes. Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
Doucette, yes.
Roberts, yes. The select board recommends Article 10, 5 yes, 0 no.
Were any changes made to the public works budget? No? Okay. Article 11, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,443,031 for public works. Majority vote required.
I make a motion to recommend Article 11.
Second.
Roll call vote.
There, yes. Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
Doucette, yes.
Roberts, yes. The select board recommends Article 11, 5 yes, 0 no.
Article 12, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $250,000 for the repair to Mountain Road Bridge, with $250,000 to come from the Bridge Capital Reserve established for this purpose. Majority vote required.
I make a motion to recommend Article 12.
Second.
Roll call vote.
There, yes. Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
Doucette, yes.
Roberts, yes. 5, the select board recommends Article 12, 5 yes, 0 no.
Why do you need an article? Didn't the original article going into the reserve fund set the selectmen to expend?
Well, it needs to be appropriated.
It's been appropriated. It went into the reserve fund.
Right.
And if the original article is written that the Board of Selectmen is authorized to expend, then you shouldn't have to. You're safe putting it in, I think, but I think it's redundant,
Okay,
depending on the original language.
Right. Okay, well, it's there now. I get your point. Which article are we on?
13.
Okay, Article 13 was slightly revised per the Department of Revenue.
Revised from the yellow sheet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Article 13, to see if the town will vote to raise the appropriate sum of $164,500 for the purchase of an articulating loader for the Highway Department, with $164,500 to come from the unassigned fund balance, parentheses, $64,850 of which was previously received from New Hampshire State Road and Bridge Grant. Majority vote required.
You read 164,850. That's
So in discussions with the Department of Revenue today, there was a discussion about, we received bridge and road money in December of '23. We accepted it in January of '24. Our lawyer said you would call it bridge and road money in '24. Department of Revenue wins, they said call it unassigned fund balance in '23. That it went into the unassigned fund balance. So, fine. It's the same chunk of money. And so that's why it's reworded.
But the wording didn't make sense.
This
You
does.
said with 164,850.
164,500 to come from the unassigned fund balance. 64,850 of which was previously received. Okay?
Yeah. It is in my mind. It's like that other article.
So the total for the article is 164,500.
Yep.
Right.
Spending and, yep.
Yep.
So,
I make a motion to recommend Article 13 as amended.
it's not amended.
Well, no.
I read you the right one.
Just
Didn't
Article-
get amended.
Just Article 13.
Okay.
It's not amended. You should never accepted it before.
Second.
Roll call vote.
There, yes. Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
Doucette, yes.
Roberts, yes. The select board recommends Article 13, 5 yes, 0 no.
Article 14, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $36,571 for health and welfare. Majority vote required.
I make a motion to recommend Article 14.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Barry, yes. Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
Said yes.
Roberts, yes. The select board recommends Article 14, 5 yes, 0 no.
Article 15. Did anything change with those? No. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $165,726 for Parks and Rec, swimming, and patriotic purposes. Majority vote required.
I make a motion to recommend Article 15.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Barry, yes. Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
Said yes.
Roberts, yes. The select board recommends Article 15, 5 yes, 0 no.
Article 16. We didn't change anything with conservation, did we?
No.
To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $6,198 for the Tamworth Conservation Commission expenses. Majority vote required.
Motion to recommend Article 16.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Barry, yes. Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
Said yes.
Roberts, yes. The select board recommends Article 16, 5 yes, 0 no.
Article 17. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $251,191 for the Cook Memorial Library, of which $16,310 is to come from the library fund, $10,484 to come from donations, $1,200 from library fees, $750 from grants, and $222,447 to be raised through taxation, and such funds to be expended under the direction of the Board of Library Trustees. Majority vote required.
I make a motion to recommend Article 17.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Barry, yes. Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
Said yes.
Roberts, yes. The select board recommends Article 17, 5 yes, 0 no.
Article 18, to see if the town will vote to discontinue the Library Capital Reserve Fund created in 2002, which currently has no money in it. Majority vote required.
Make a motion to recommend Article 18.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Barry, yes. Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
Said yes.
Roberts, yes. The select board recommends Article 18, 5 yes, 0 no.
Article 19, to see if the town will establish a contingency fund for the current year for unanticipated expenses that may arise, and to further raise and appropriate $35,125 to put in that fund. This sum to come from the unassigned fund balance. Any appropriation left at the end of the year will lapse to the general fund. Majority vote required.
I make a motion to recommend Article 19.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Barry, yes. Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
Said yes.
Roberts, yes. The select board recommends Article 19, 5 yes, 0 no.
Article 20, to see if the town will vote to establish an expendable trust fund under the provision RSA 31:19-A for the purpose of fulfilling the town's future retirement payout obligations, and to raise and appropriate the sum of $30,000 to be placed in this fund and to come from the unassigned fund balance, and which shall be called Town Retirement Obligation Expendable Trust Fund. Furthermore, to name the select board as agents to expend from the fund. A majority vote required.
I make a motion to recommend Article 20.
Second.
Roll
Question.
call. Oh, yep.
So can that money only be used for retirement payouts? What if somebody leaves their job and if they're not retiring? And they've got...
They're retiring from the town.
So we'll... Okay. Okay, just checking.
So is this the same 30 grand that is to pay off the vacation thing, or does it just happen to be the same numbers?
It's the
It's
same
the same
30 grand.
grant.
Same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I see a little bit of confusion there, Leanne, with the titling of it.
Yeah. As long as it's on the record that it's for payouts when people leave under the terms of the town personnel policy and are entitled to their payout.
Because if you're leaving free will, you're not retiring from the town.
Yeah. Can we just amend the title so?
We can amend the title. Town,
What's the wording in the personnel policy?
I would say town employment obligation.
Separation payout.
Separation.
Obligation.
Separation.
So whether it's retirement or it's,
I think
Just change the word retirement to separation.
separation.
Okay.
That makes me feel more,
That would cover everything.
that makes me feel more comfortable.
okay, so accept, recommend as amended.
no, separation.
I motion to recommend Article 20 as amended.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Barry, yes.
Schaefer, yes?
Prentice, yes.
Doucette, yes.
Roberts, yes. The select board recommends Article 20, 5 yes, 0 no.
Article 21, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $26,000 for the Tamworth sewer system. This appropriation will be completely funded from the sewer user fees and such funds to be expended under the direction of the sewer commissioners. Majority vote required.
I make a motion to recommend Article 21.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Barry, yes.
Schaefer, yes?
Prentice, yes.
Doucette, yes.
Roberts, yes. The select board recommends Article 21, 5 yes, 0 no.
Article 22, by petition. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $38,000 for the Ossipee Concerned Citizens Incorporated Elderly Nutritional Meal Program, Meals on Wheels, and congregate meals. Majority vote required.
I make a motion to recommend Article 22.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Barry, yes.
Schaefer, yes?
Prentice, yes.
Doucette, yes.
Roberts, yes. The select board recommends Article 22, 5 yes, 0 no.
Article 23, by petition. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $80,000 to support the Tamworth Community Nurse Association for the purpose of continuing nursing service to the residents of Tamworth. Majority vote required.
I make a motion to recommend Article 23. Roll call vote.
Barry, yes.
Schaefer, yes?
Prentice, yes.
Doucette, yes.
Roberts, yes. The select board recommends Article 23, 5 yes, 0 no.
Article 24, by petition. To see if the town of Tamworth will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $3,822 for the Family Resource Center at Children Unlimited Incorporated. Majority vote required.
I make a motion to recommend Article 24.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Barry, yes.
Schaefer, yes?
Prentice, yes.
Doucette, yes.
Roberts, yes. The select board recommends Article 24, 5 yes, 0 no.
Article 25, by petition. To see if the town of Tamworth will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $5,960 for the support of the White Mountain Community Health Center to help meet the need of healthcare needs of the uninsured and underinsured residents of the town of Tamworth. Majority vote required.
I make a motion to recommend Article 25.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Barry, yes.
Schaefer, yes?
Prentice, yes.
Doucette, yes.
Roberts, yes. The select board recommends Article 25. 5 yes, 0 no.
Article 26, by petition. To see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $6,327 for the operation of Tri-County Community Action Program Incorporated service programs in Tamworth. Transportation, energy assistance, weatherization, guardianship, Head Start, homeless intervention, prevention, disaster relief, and Tamworth Dental Center. Majority vote required.
I make a motion to recommend Article 26.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Barry, yes.
Schaefer, yes?
Prentice, yes.
Doucette, yes.
Roberts, yes. The select board recommends Article 26. 5 yes, 0 no.
Article 27, by petition. To see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $11,000 for the operation of the Bear Camp Center for Sustainable Community to support affordable child care for Tamworth families in the form of an active, creative, and comprehensive 6-week summer day camp program offered at the Bear Camp Center for children in grades K through 8. Camp will run Monday through Thursday each week of July and August beginning at 8 a.m. and ending at 3 p.m. Majority vote required.
A motion to recommend Article 27.
Second.
Roll call vote.
There, yes?
Schaefer, yes.
Prentice abstain.
You should
Resent
recuse. You should recuse, not abstain.
Recuse.
Whether you, what?
She should recuse herself, not.
So not
Abstain.
participate at all, you're saying?
No,
Yeah.
Okay, so 4 yes.
Thank you.
The select board recommends Article 27. 4 yes, 0 no.
Article 28, by petition, to see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $5,000 for the operation of the Bear Camp Center for Sustainable Community to create by donation meals for Tamworth residents who want or need meals. Near 25,000 meals have been provided since March of 2020. Majority vote required.
I make a motion to recommend Article 28.
Second.
Roll call vote.
There, yes?
Schaefer, yes.
Doucette, yes.
Roberts, yes. Article 28. The select board recommends Article 28. 5 yes. 4 yes, 0 no.
Should Leanne just state on this one too, she's recusing, just to cover herself?
Yes, I'm recusing from this one as well.
Thank you.
Article 29, by petition, to see if the town of Tamworth will vote and raise and appropriate the sum of $3,000 for the community food center serving elderly families, disabled, and all in need who qualify. Majority vote required.
I make a motion to recommend Article 29.
Second.
Roll call vote.
There, yes?
Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
Doucette, yes.
Roberts, yes. The select board recommends Article 29. 5 yes, 0 no.
Article 30, by petition to respectfully request that the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $6,932 in support of Starting Point, providing advocacy and support to victims of domestic and sexual violence and their children. Majority vote required.
I make a motion to recommend Article 30.
Second.
Roll call vote.
There, yes?
Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
Roberts, yes. Just,
He said yes.
he did.
5 yes.
Yeah.
The select board recommends Article 30. 5 yes, 0 no.
So I'm deleting the Article 31 that's on this page because CASA didn't get their signatures in. So Article 31, by petition, to see if the town of Tamworth will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $3,750 for the Northern Human Services to offset the cost of providing outpatient mental health services on a sliding fee scale to uninsured town residents. Majority vote required.
I make a motion to recommend Article 32.
No, it's 31.
Sorry, 31.
Yeah. Second.
Roll call vote.
There, yes?
Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
Doucette, yes.
Roberts, yes. The select board recommends Article 31. 5 yes, 0 no.
Article 32, by petition, to see if the town of Tamworth will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $15,000 for the Lakes Region Visiting Nurse Association to provide home care and hospice care to residents of Tamworth. Majority vote required.
I make a motion to recommend Article 32.
Second.
Roll call vote.
There, yes?
Schaefer, no.
Prentice, yes.
Doucette, yes.
Roberts, yes. The select board recommends Article 32. 4 yes, 1 no.
Article 33, by petition, shall we allow the operation of Keno games within the town? Majority vote required.
I make a motion to recommend Article 33.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Bear, no.
Schaefer, no.
Prentice, yes.
Doucette, yes.
Roberts, yes. The select board recommends Article 33. 3 yes, 2 no.
Article 34, by petition, Shall the following provisions pertaining to the elections be adopted? All voting shall be by paper ballot, and all ballots shall be hand counted only rather than by the use of optical scanning or any other types of programmable electronic counting devices. This shall constitute a return to hand counting ballots and the immediate discontinuance of all electronic voting machines and electronic devices authorized for use by trial in RSA 656:40. Shall this article be passed, it shall be enacted by the town of Tamworth immediately. It needs to say and doesn't, majority vote required, and I will add that in.
Can I,
Yeah.
you have to say something, or can I make a comment?
You wanna move it
Go ahead.
first?
Move it
Okay,
first.
sorry. I make a motion to recommend Article 34.
Second.
Yeah.
Roll call vote.
No,
Discussion, sorry.
I know, it's so late.
I guess I wanted to put a little clarity on that, having worked with our machines, or the machines that we do. New Hampshire does still have our paper ballots, so even though they're being counted, I'm gonna say electronically by a machine, there are the checks and balances that you literally can count those paper ballots. It's not that you're poking at an electronic device and have no backup to show how someone may have actually voted. So in seeing this article, I guess I would like to encourage the board to vote against that, because I think with what New Hampshire has in place for the way the elections are run, and that we are still a paper state, if you will, with the actual physical ballots, they can be hand counted if there is a large discrepancy from the machine tape. And there are ones that are hand counted if they were written in or something kicks out to the side as it is now. Those ballots are hand counted and added to the tape.
So Kim, can I just ask a process question?
Sure.
So people walk in to vote, you check them off, they get a ballot. They vote, they put the ballot in the machine, either in through the scanner or in the hand count on the side. It goes in the box. Then they check out. So you have those three mechanisms to get the same number.
Yes. Yep, and the paperwork now that we fill out
I saw that crazy.
could verify that in different ways. And there are, some towns are strictly hand count still. They're small enough, or for whatever reasons they're hand count.
Well, plus the ballots are saved. They don't get shredded.
No,
right, and there is a retention schedule to keep the ballots for recount purposes.
Yeah.
And that evening, there are the checks and balances, like I said, that you can, if the tape was way off, then obviously we'd separate the ballots and physically hand count them. I think the tape and the machine are just, for us, assisting in putting our numbers together and making sure we've got the right numbers. So, I know in other states it's much different, and with the electronic devices themselves, there's no paper things to check upon, and maybe programming wise, the worryment of the machine not counting properly, which is why I test the machine prior to all the elections, to make sure that the machine we take 50 test ballots, and from each party, if there's a primary or whatever, and we make sure the machine is tallying what we've done and have hand tallied to match the tape when we test.
How do people know that they're allowed to put the ballot in the side if they want it hand counted and not through the scanner?
That would be their decision if they didn't want to put it through there, that whoever was manning the ballot box would say to them that they do have an option of putting it through that, on the side where that is.
So they have to know to ask us?
Yeah, or the ballot clerk should know to let them know if they ask.
If somebody's
that,
expressing concern?
the ballot person who's at the ballot box, yep, should be able to do that. And if it does kick out, they may have voted for too many people in one race. So then they have an opportunity to get the moderator to say, oh, I meant to just do this one, and I did this one too, and spoil that ballot and start again. So that they have that opportunity to put, if that one race, they don't care, they can put it on the hand count side and we hand count it.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Thank you, Kim.
Sure.
Roll call vote.
Fair, no?
Schaefer, no.
Prentice, no.
Doucette, no.
Roberts, no. The select board does not recommend the Article 34, so 0, yes, and 5, no.
Article 35, to transact any other business that may legally come before the meeting. Do you have to?
We don't have to.
You don't have to vote on
Right,
that.
no.
That's just there. Okay, never mind. That's it.
So we're good with that.
Yep.
And so do I
So we
recess the
just,
public?
yeah, so
So I
we
make a
recess the public hearing, and then we have a few select board items to do, which we can get through quickly.
So I don't need a motion for that. I just recess the public hearing until 5 p.m. Thursday.
You don't need a motion?
I think you have to
believe
motion
so.
it.
There's no motion for
Motion
recess.
for
is there?
recess?
It's a public hearing, so I would just
Do it?
do it.
Okay.
Yeah, you just recess your public hearing.
I make a motion to recess the public hearing until 5 p.m. tomorrow.
Same
February
room,
8th.
same time.
Here we.
February, what's the date?
8th.
February 8th.
February 8th, 2024, to be clear.
Can we be here, Mary? Just-
What?
No, I can't. Rick has a key.
No, I said we can be here though, you don't have anything
Yeah,
else
we
scheduled.
reserved the room.
Oh, we did, okay, that's right. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Oh,
That's right. I know, I was so past my bedtime right now. Okay.
Roll call vote.
There, yes.
Who
Schaefer,
seconded
yes.
it?
You did.
You did.
Prentice, yes.
Doucette, yes.
Roberts, yes. 5 yes, 0 no. We will see you at 5 o'clock tomorrow.
But we are gonna finish.
But we still got a meeting going, don't worry. What?
Yeah.
Somebody, I believe, said the school hearing tomorrow is 7. I have it down as 5:30.
We'll be quick.
This will be a,
Anybody else?
Well,
No, I don't know that for sure. I know in the past it was later, but I don't know, John. I apologize.
We're only gonna sign
We're just
tomorrow.
gonna-
So you're
I'm
only
not-
gonna
I'm
verify
not
that your
questioning
numbers
that.
are correct after Keith's.
Right.
goes and
I'm just
double checks to
questioning
make sure they're
the,
okay.
The
Oh, I
7
see.
p.m.
the 7 p.m.
it is
versus-
Just so
5:30.
people know.
It's
5:30?
5. Yeah, the school's 5:30 tomorrow, not 7. So.
Sorry, yeah,
No problem.
my bad.
okay, so we have agenda in front of me.
Yep.
Where is it?
Staff-related discussion.
Okay, so, Sue Leonard has submitted her resignation,
Okay.
and, I have a letter, and you all need to vote to accept it.
Do we want to read the letter?
Yeah, it just says,
No, I
I resign as of such and such a date. She's gonna stay until
Mr.
Monday.
Chairman, it's too noisy here, I can't hear anything.
Guys, we gotta finish the meeting right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
We're still in a meeting.
So go in the hall, I guess, to chat.
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, you want the letter?
No, can you just maybe say that again? So
Okay,
for anybody.
Sue Leonard has resigned from her position as of March 15th, and in order for me to post the position, you all need to accept her resignation.
I make a motion to accept Sue Leonard's resignation as of March 15th.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote.
Fair, yes?
Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
Doucette, yes.
Roberts, yes. 5 yes, 0 no.
Great, now you got this little bit of, a small signature file. And where is it?
I make a motion to approve the select board meeting minutes for February 1st, 2024.
Do you have the
Second.
Roll call
that's
vote.
up here.
Roll call vote.
Fair, yes.
Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
Doucette, yes.
Roberts, yes. 5 yes, 0 no. I make a motion to approve the non-public meeting minutes under RSA 91-A:3 to D, Session 1, and non-public meeting minutes under RSA 91-A:3 to A, Session 2 on February 1st, 2024.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Barry, yes.
Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
Doucette, yes.
Roberts, yes. 5 yes, 0 no. I make a motion to approve the LRPC appointment form for John Gotchin. Roll call vote.
Barry, yes.
Who was the second?
Get a second on that.
Second, I don't think we have to vote on it because we did last week, we're just signing.
You're just signing.
Okay,
We're just signing this
I,
week.
what's it called? I rescind my motion. I make a motion to approve the accounts payable in the amount of $351,973.10, as well as.
Yeah, three numbers there.
The manifest has
Oh,
three
because Elaine gave me 3 manifests.
numbers.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
As well as the payroll manifest in the amount of $4,907.24.
They're accounts payable, they're not payroll. Is it payroll?
No, wait.
Just says
It
accounts
says
payable.
accounts payable.
Did I say
manifest.
payroll?
Yeah.
So,
Start over. Start over.
I rescind my motion. I make a motion to approve the accounts payable manifests in the amount of $351,973.10, $4,907.24, and $100 even. $351,000 school
We
payment.
don't have a second.
Sorry.
Second.
The school payment of $255,000, insurance in the amount of $16,558, salt and sand in the amount of $13,500, ambulance in the amount of $16,000. Roll call vote.
Barry, yes.
Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
Doucette, yes.
Roberts, yes. 5 yes, 0 no. The total cash used to date is $1,317,203.22. Select board update.
No update.
Don't say it.
No update.
that's the only acceptable answer.
No update.
Anything from you, Richard?
Nope.
Don't you dare.
I got a good one. No, I'm just kidding. The one time. Any public input?
Good.
Hearing no public input. Motion to adjourn. Oh, that was silly. Not as good as the wooden table.
Mary,
You gotta sign things, but you ain't going anywhere.
should we leave the seats?
Goodbye, Richard.
Goodbye, Richard.
Is that okay?
Above or below?
Okay.
Above.
Above.
So we'll leave them, yeah.